The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Oh, pleased to meet you. Start me up. I'm here to tell you all about Channel 4 Friday night comedy. So start me up. Now then, there's 3 great new comedies from New Green Wing. That's nearly ready. My Name is Earl and The It Crowd. The great new comedy from the creator of Father Ted. Ow! Friday night comedy this Friday on Channel 4. Switch me in. It's gonna be a winner.
Karl, right? What do you think it's like being a crab? If you could go now, your mind into a crab, what would you see? Where would you be? What would you be doing? What would you be thinking? What would you think of all the other things? The crabs you'd see, the squids you'd see. What's it like? Do you think? I want you to. It's like creative writing. Just think. Just let yourself go. Come on.
It's got to be a crab.
What do you think of a slug? What do you think would be a slug? What would you do if you were transported now into a slug? What would you do? And Suzanne, you're suddenly in the kitchen, but you're a slug, and Suzanne's sort of like there, just making tea and that. How do you let her know it's you?
It's impossible. I'd just chuck myself into the salt pot or something. No, because what do you do? I'd hate that. That would be horrible, that.
Oh, God.
Have you ever read Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis? In which a man wakes up and he's turned into a giant beetle? And that's the whole story. I think it might be of interest to you.
So what happened to him with the beetle?
Well, I don't want to ruin it for you in case you read it.
I won't be reading it, don't worry.
He joined a pop group with 3 other people. He was brilliant.
No, it's a really wonderful book. It's a kind of almost heartbreaking because, of course, he does, like Ricky's saying, he finds it very hard then to relate to other people, even though he still has the consciousness of a human. You know, his parents, his rest of his family, they don't know how to deal with him, you know, because he's a giant beetle. He becomes a freak, he becomes an outsider. It's terrible, you know.
But hang on, though. Is he a giant beetle? Or
Yeah.
is he... Well, yeah, well, that's not going to go down well, is it? That, of course, people aren't going to like you. But if it's a normal-sized one, then you just get in with the other beetles, don't you? Whereas if you're a giant...
How would you do that? How would you ingratiate yourself? Right, so you're suddenly a beetle, you're Karl Pilkington, right? There's other people, they're doing their business, they're scuttling around, and you go in there, and they look at you as a new beetle. What's your first... What do you do? How do you ingratiate yourself?
Well, for a bit, I wouldn't sort of barge into their house and that. I'd wait until they're out and about, and I'd like in life, right? Sort of help them out. I don't know what beetles do all day. I've never seen one doing anything. They just seem to be going from one place to another.
Right.
I've never seen them carrying anything. I don't know what they eat. I don't know what they do. I don't know how we've got them, right? But what I mean is, I'd watch them and I'd sort of help them out. And I mean, you know, it's like going on a date or meeting a woman, isn't it?
But what if there is
Whoa, hang on, what do you mean? How is it like going on a date with a woman?
Well, it's like I said about Suzanne with her hot chocolate. She bought me that, and I've gone, she's all right. Right? She gets me another one before I know it. She's living with me. So
So you're these beetles. They're scrolling around, right? You're sort of like watching them, and then you realise that you want to mate with this female beetle. What do you do? What's your first move?
Yeah, but I don't know what beetles do I? So I don't know what you do. I don't know if you go up and go, all right. What do they do? How do they get on?
Whoa!
It's a different world. I don't know yet, do I? Because I haven't done it.
Would you feel bad because having your own mind in this beetle, right? Would you feel bad shagging a beetle? Would you feel that was a bit sick because you've got a human mind?
Well, no, because you just close your eyes and that, wouldn't you? And go, pretend to think of something else. So, get round it that way. There's no point getting down about it, because I'm stuck now as a beetle. So you've got to get on with it.
But if you're a slug, you said you'd throw yourself in the salt pot. What would you do if you were a beetle if you got depressed? And you see all the other humans.
No,
you see your mates, right? They're listening to the iPod. What would you do?
But no, that's what I'm saying, though. Beetles are different, because they do tend to hang about with each other. A slug's always on its own. It's a lonely insect, isn't it?
It's not an insect.
Alright, what is it?
A mollusk.
Right, they're lonely. I've never seen a load of snails all together or slugs wandering about, whereas beetles seem to knock about in crowds.
Yeah.
So, oh God. Okay, all right, another one.
So they're sociable creatures, and it wouldn't bother you that you've got the mind of Karl Pilkington in there? Because you can't communicate with these people,
what if
because they don't speak English, they don't have any communication with you.
Yeah, but if it's happened to me, there'll be another one in there.
Okay then. Right. Okay. What would you do? Right. That's the most disgusting thing. What could it be? Well, what would you do? Right. If you were suddenly a fly, right, and you were knocking around with the flies, right, and you had to land on some
Excrement?
Yeah. What would you do?
Yeah, but I don't have to.
What do you mean? You're a fly. You're
But I
loving it.
wouldn't. No, I wouldn't be loving it. No, would I?
Why?
Because I'm me in that fly's head. So I don't think other flies would be going, come on, join in. I'd just be like, no, I'll wait here, wait, watch, and that. Because I don't see why they have to do that.
What would you do, right, if you had to go back and you were in a, had to go put your mind in like the, an hatched egg of something, like maybe one of those, that a wasp was injected in a spider. So you're in an egg, right, which is really uncomfortable, in a spider. How would you feel about that, Karl? You're a baby wasp in the abdomen of a spider.
And I know everything that I know now. I'm sat in there.
Yeah. And now I'm in a spider as an unborn wasp. What am I doing here? What's going on?
I don't know what I'd do there. Really try and sleep. There's nothing else to do, though, is there?
I just pray to God it never happens.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
I don't believe it. He's written it down.
Well, that's the jingle that signals it's time for more extracts from Karl's diary, and we'll lunge straight into it. Wandered down Carnaby Street. There was a happy homeless fella. I gave him £1.50. I thought of a tongue twister after giving him the money. It goes, if you can't treat a cheerful tramp, what sort of tramp can you treat?
It's good, that.
All
Say
right.
it fast.
If you can't treat a cheerful tramp, what sort of tramp can you treat?
Good, isn't it?
Good, that, yeah. You've got too much time on your hands, Karl.
Learnt some famous quotes to see if they are as good as my sayings. Number 1, treat every day as if it's your last. Very famous saying. Now, is that something you do, Karl?
But you know, my problem with that one is that if it was your last, you wouldn't want to be doing much. That's the only problem I've got with that. I wouldn't want to, go to a fairground or whatever, because you're going, oh, it's my last day, what am I going to do? And I think you'd spend so much time worrying about what you're going to do that you'd end up staying in.
I think you're right. You've taken some of the poetry out of it. I think it means live life to the fullest, right?
I like the fact that you were musing on the idea that if it was your last day, you'd go to the fair. It's getting such a 19th century way of spending your final day.
I know, yeah. Well, the thing is, the other thing is that the only thing that people get depressed about in terms of sort of like life and death is not the knowledge that they're gonna die, but more the knowledge that they know they're gonna die when they're dying. If someone told you, no one ever knows when they're gonna die, no one ever gets an illness, no one ever gets hit by a truck, everyone passes away peacefully in their sleep, dreaming they're riding a big marshmallow, right? Then you wouldn't care about anything. It wouldn't matter when. It wouldn't matter if you died tomorrow or in 30 years' time. You'd just live life to the full. You'd have it, every day would be great. You'd go out, you'd come back, you'd fall asleep. That would be amazing. There'd be no stress. There'd be no angsty, we're all gonna die stress, because it wouldn't matter. Because it would just be your life. Wouldn't it be amazing if someone guaranteed you, Karl, you're gonna die in your sleep? I'm not gonna tell you when.
Yeah, but some people do, don't they?
Well, exactly.
Yeah,
but we never know
that.
we're going to, because we stress. What if we get a dreadful illness? What if we,
But we're almost not letting people die naturally anymore, are we? Because we're always bodging stuff up.
What do you mean?
Well, someone who might naturally die in the sleep aren't allowed to naturally die in the sleep because they wake them up with those electric things and get them going again. And pop in a new lung or whatever whilst they're at it. That's what I'm saying. They don't just... You never hear it anymore, do you? Frank peacefully died in his sleep. No, he died on the operating table whilst we were putting in a new lung. They don't die naturally anymore.
Frank died peacefully with 40,000 volts going through them and a couple of people going, clear! Clear!
Rushing about today. Got to get a lot done as I'm flying to Malaga tomorrow to see my mum and dad. Don't like flying. I'd be happy if they give you a parachute instead of a life jacket. They say Da Vinci invented the parachute as well as the helicopter. He never got round to making them, though, because he only drew them on some paper. Got up at 5 a.m. as I had to get to Heathrow to get on the plane to see mum and dad in Malaga. Went out for a drink with a cousin who lives in Spain. Ain't seen her for 27 years. Oh, that must have been tricky, making conversation.
I didn't really bother. Because where do you start? I might as well go up to anyone in the street and start having a chat.
Yeah, you have to go further back than, did you want Chantal to win Big Brother?
Yeah. Me dad and me talked about history. I said we shouldn't go on about things that happened ages ago because I bet something similar has happened more recently.
Brilliant.
Read about an island in the Indian Ocean where there are tribesmen still living like they're cavemen. A helicopter tried to land and the tribesmen chucked spears at them. This is what I meant about not having to talk about things that happened ages ago. We have got new cavemen now, so why do we talk about the old ones? People could have lived before, but computers and all that blew up and books got burnt, so all they had left was what these tribesmen have got left.
Ramblings
And that's the ramblings
madman.
of a maniac. That's just a few hours before you go crazy with a gun in there.
No, but what I mean there is, right, say if all this has happened before, right, podcasting's been happening years ago, something happens.
Again, a lot of information from the Planet of the Apes.
Something happens, world ends, right, we come back again somehow.
Yeah. It's the detail you leave out that makes you intriguing. Just like the watch that you can wear that tells you when you're going to die. How does it work? Pop it on your wrist. That's all the detail you need. So the world happened. We came back.
Have you seen the pictures? Forget it then if you don't get it.
It's interesting that you had all those profound thoughts about this period in the past when they all lived, but you've still found it appropriate to include at the end of that. It says that tribesmen wave their knobs about when they've had enough of having visitors.
That's what it said in the paper. That's what happens. They're quite happy.
What paper is this that you're reading?
It was in like a paper a couple of days ago. It said they don't mind having visitors if they're bringing them coconuts and stuff that they can eat. Once they've got everything they need, they start waving the tackle about, and that means like, right, leave now, which you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, at a dinner party.
My grandfather used to do that.
Well now, what have we here? I'm here to tell you all about Friday night comedy on Channel 4. There's 3 great comedies. Green Wing, It's Nearly Ready, My Name is Earl, and The It Crowd. The great new comedy from the creator of Father Ted. And what have we here? Jingle, jangle, jingle, jangle as it happens. Friday night comedy, this Friday on Channel 4. Switch it on. Now then, well now, the young man. Well now then, well now then, young man.
Oh, did fancy that monkey news?
That jingle is getting more annoyed by the week.
Well, this is the final monkey news, right? I'm not doing this anymore, right? Because we've covered it all.
All the monkey news has been covered?
It has. We've done loads of them. I think all the news that needs to be sort of known has been told, right?
That is the end of the news. Jesus Christ.
What?
Get on with it.
Right, do you know, in the first podcast that we did, we chatted about the monkey that went into space and stuff.
Mm.
So where we left
So haven't you got a real new monkey news?
Well, it's an update, isn't it? I mean,
Is it new? Has it happened recently? Has it happened since podcast 1?
I have to pick Ricky up on the point that he thinks any of the monkey news we've heard, A, happened, and B, happened recently. It almost always happened in olden times, or ages ago.
Or you're right, it never happened.
Right, anyway, so like I say, the first monkey news, it was about this monkey that went into space.
This was the one that was fed by bananas that came out of a little chute on the spacecraft.
Yeah, it went up there, did a really good job. It was taught how to press the buttons, hit the left button for a banana, you know.
Right button to
go right.
make history and go into
right
space.
Right,
Oh, what do I want? Not more banana. You haven't taken off yet? More banana. Oh, we shouldn't have given him a choice of banana or a change history. We should have the right button. We should have fed him before he went and only had a right button. He's at the left button again. He's just eating bananas up there. What's going on?
It's costing us a fortune!
Dave! Press the right button and do something. Oh, bananas. You hit the left button again, the little...
so anyway, yeah, I told you, he went up there, he came back, he could never get that
The high exactly,
again.
yeah.
You know what I mean? He tried other things. I think he tried to get a band together and that. Right, so anyway, there was loads of monkeys that were signed up to this NASA program, and it was 1961 when this little monkey called Ham, that was his name, so a bit of an update, that's the same one as I talked about, his name was Ham. As well as him, there was one called Enos. He went round the world loads of times. So anyway, what I found out about it since then, Ham went up there, did the left-right business with the bananas. Enos, they didn't put as much work into the trip when he went up there, and something went wrong with the machinery. And do you know how you get a banana for the left button and all that?
It's official now. There's 2 buttons in this spaceship. Banana dispenser and everything else. The right button is everything else.
But it worked the other way. The machinery went weird.
Oh no, really?
So it meant that the right button would give him a banana.
Right.
The left button did everything else.
Oh no.
How did
So
that, how
what?
did
So
that
what had
happen,
been
though?
taught? This is the problem with electronics, isn't it?
Well, no, I don't think
No,
that's...
apparently this is the problem.
But the good, I mean, honestly, look it up if you want. This is all online, by the
So
way.
what happened when it all went haywire? What occurred?
Luckily,
Carl, this is online, and it's bollocks.
luckily, Enos, because he'd done a few trips,
Right, he's
so he was like,
experienced.
well, I know this isn't right. As much as I love bananas, this isn't right.
That was his thinking, of course it was.
So anyway, so he came back. They were all like over the moon with him.
He
you
said,
know,
I
going,
can't work with these conditions.
good mission and everything. Well done on working it out. He sorted all that out. It moved on a few years. Armstrong's gone up there. Buzz and that other fella. They've been up there. The monkeys aren't needed anymore. But they were like, we've got all these monkeys who have done NASA training. What are we going to do with them all? And they had to raise £14 million to make them like an old sort of chimps home for retired
Retired NASA-trained monkeys.
Chimpanauts.
Something they've got in there is like a little museum, right, of all the missions and that they've been on, so they can sort of, even though they're not going to be going into space again, they can almost relive it and reminisce of the times that they've had. And
They're reminiscing with each other, are they?
just sort of going,
chatting
oh,
about the
remember
old
that time when it all went wrong, the button became the left when it should have been the right and all the rest of it. They just, you know, sort
Talking
of
about old times,
talking about old times and what have you, like old people like to do.
Sure.
And yeah, that's it. So if you want to like give some money towards their home, you can go to like savethechimps.org, and it's all there. All that information that I've given you, it's all there. You can.
I'd be surprised if all the information you've given us is there.
It's all there.
I'd be very surprised.
It's all there. Just retired, you know, monkeys and that who have done the bit.
Perhaps we should retire Monkey News to that same place.
That's what I mean. So, you know, I hope you've enjoyed the monkey news and that. That was the last one. Look after the monkeys. Do your bit, because they've done their bit. That's it, yeah. But just because I'm not giving the news, look it up. Do you know what I mean? It's all out there. Don't be ignorant.
Wise words.
Thank you so much for listening to these 12 podcasts. I've really enjoyed it. I know Steve and Carl have. This podcast was, as usual, hosted by Positive Internet, the world's #1 podcast. Next week, a brand new podcast. We have, as I say, we have got to charge a little bit for it because it does cost money to host. And please keep listening. It is going to be very little, and Carl needs your money. If you could see what I see now, he's just looking at me with his... He just needs stuff, don't you, Carl? What do you need? What do you need?
Just something more than nothing.
For information on the archive of the podcasts, these last 12 shows, and for the new podcasts to come, go to rickygervais.com. You can register there. We'll send out loads of information. Plus, you'll just find out links to how to get all this stuff that we're offering out there. There's also a free taster if you just can't wait for more of Carl's nonsense. Make sure, please, that you register your email and everything so we can get in touch and just tell you what's going to happen with the Ricky Gervais show, with Carl's mind, and with everything else. rickygervais.com. Go there. Makes perfect sense.
It's the end of an era, but the start of a new one. It's almost seamless in a way, isn't it? The end and the beginning. But Carl, what do you think about that? How things end and new things begin?
Well, I suppose you've got to have an end for a beginning, so it's just a bit odd that we've got an end and having a beginning. But that's science for you.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Hello, and welcome back to the first in the third series of the Ricky Gervais Show with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant.
Hello there.
And the fool, the round-headed buffoon that is Karl Pilkington.
Alright.
We've been away filming our second series of extras, leaving Karl to his own devices in a sweltering London. We've had a heat wave here in the capital city, haven't we, Karl?
It's been alright.
It's been up to 100 degrees, record-breaking temperatures.
Yeah.
What have you been doing, though?
Sort of enjoyed it a little bit. Was out and about.
Yeah?
Getting to see the place, having loads of walks. And that, I like to have walks. You know, watching what
Like a
people are
dog.
Yeah! When he jumps off the couch and starts
Exactly.
scratching against the door.
Suzanne thinks it's time.
doing. It's just good thinking time, though, isn't it? As well, having a walk. You've got no other clutter going on around you. And you just think about a lot of stuff. And, you know, like you say, with the weather being hot and stuff, a lot of insects knocking about.
Right.
So I've just been watching them.
So while we've been filming a TV show, you've been watching insects.
Yeah, just seeing, because everybody knows insects are out there, but no one's keeping an eye on them.
What are they up to? What are you worried about?
Loads of Steve, you wouldn't be laughing like that if you'd watch them, because they do some weird stuff and that, is what I mean.
What sort of stuff? Any examples?
I saw a bee have a heart attack.
You saw a bee have a heart attack.
Yeah.
How were you sure it was a heart attack?
Because what happened, I'd been...
Did it clutch its chest with all 6 legs?
No,
Were there some other little bee paramedics?
No, I'd just been out in the park anyway, just looking at, you know, caterpillars knocking about, butterflies and stuff, so I was sort of aware.
So when Suzanne goes to work, she goes, Karl, don't you waste the day. Just because you don't work at the radio station anymore, I want you to do some constructive stuff. And you go, yeah, I am, yeah. And so in your head suddenly goes... And he goes out. Oh, there's a moth.
But the thing is, so I'd been in the park and I was aware of the insects that are around us more than like most of the time. And I come out of the park, just crossing like a sort of a busy road and what have you, and I saw this bee to the right of me, sort of in the air, and it was a big one, and I was a bit like, oh, let's watch that. And he just fell. It fell from the air in front of me. And it was on the pavement, and I thought, oh, what's going on here? And I looked at it for a bit, and it was really still. Gave it a little kick, just to see if there was any movement. Nothing. stone sort of, what's the saying? Stone cold dead.
Yeah, stone cold be dead.
So
Yeah,
that
I like
was,
the fact that this bee suddenly saw Karl and had a heart attack.
Yeah.
It'd never seen anything that round before.
Yeah.
It just thought it had approached him because he thought it was a sunflower.
My God, it's a giant walking orange. Every dream has come true.
no, but it just summed up life for me. I thought that's like us, isn't it? At the end of the day, they have heart attacks, stress.
You put it down to stress, do you?
Well, it's in London, isn't it? You know, everything has stresses from living here.
And they are bald, aren't they? They've got fur all over, but they lose the...
And always overweight.
It was a fat, bald bee. Oh.
So what did you? It fell to the floor, and you instantly just kicked it. You didn't attempt
No, I
to
waited
revive
a second
it.
and just looked at it to see if there was any, leg movement or wing, and there was nothing. And then when I sort of kicked it, it was sort of hard. It had hardened already. It's just
Rigor mortis had
had set in.
Did it put you in a bad mood for the day? Because I know things like that can just send you over the edge for the day.
Death and that does a bit. Suzanne doesn't like me talking about death.
What riveting conversations do you come up with?
No, just things like one of our mates has had a baby recently, and I just was saying, when that's sort of our age, we'll nearly be dead.
Think of that.
That's the first thing he says. There's a new life brought into the world. But when he's our age, we'll be dead.
Yeah.
No, it's
Maybe
weird.
they'll let you do the speech at the christening.
Yeah, it's just, so like I say, just insect life and that, it's interesting.
You say it's interesting, but do you care about really finding out about them? Do you really care about what bees do or what ants do? You look at them and you make up your own world. For example, it had a heart attack, it's stress, it's overweight. You know nothing. I could probably, why don't you look something up? Honeybees are fascinating. Honeybees, they've been around making honey for 100 million years. It's incredible. Their wings beat over 11,000 times a minute.
And he's thinking, no wonder it had a heart attack.
Yeah, exactly. But they're do you know bees, like ants, are actually like specialised wasps. They're sort of developed from the same
Family.
Huh?
Family, like.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't surprise you, no? Does it interest you in any way?
Well, everything's linked to something, isn't it? It's like how they say away from monkeys and that.
Yeah.
It's all the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've been watching loads of stuff. I've been watching ants. You mentioned ants. I've had a lot of moths in the house. They're sort of sad.
I mean, you say it like it was a garden party.
No,
Yeah.
it's just all these things. You look at them. I mean, you go into the scientific bit saying, it likes honey or whatever.
It doesn't like honey. The reason they store honey is to get them through the winter when there's not like nectar, or nectar's hard to get, and they store it, and they store too much, which is why we can skim a little bit off the top. We're like agents.
Yeah, well, but all I'm saying is I look at more about what its life is like as opposed
Well, no, you
to...
don't. You don't. You guess. You make it up. You don't look into it at all.
No, but you can. A bit of guesswork is you're pretty close to the truth most of the time.
Why? What do you mean? That statement sums you up. A bit of guesswork is pretty close to the truth.
Because if you watch something long enough, is what I'm saying, you can see that it's a bit clueless. It's the same way about ants. Or they're hard workers and all that. I watch one. It's going back and forth all the time. They go one way and then they stop and go the other way. They try to look busy in front of the mates. But if you watch one long enough, it's back and forwards, and it's like it's done nothing there.
I'm going to carry this twig back and forth until I can knock off at 4.
There's a lot of that going on.
Is there?
Because there's not. There's none of that going on.
There is. No, like I say, the moth, depressing little sort of thing.
Why is it depressing?
Just the way it hasn't got eyes, has it? You just look at it, it doesn't know what's going on. I just don't. I think if you haven't got eyes, you shouldn't have wings.
That's a rule. If we could put that into practice, please.
That's a great rule. That's a fantastic rule, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you haven't got eyes, you shouldn't have wings.
Certainly true of people thinking of becoming an air pilot.
Whilst you've been working and that, I've been travelling about a bit, just seeing the country and that. Went to Dorset, right? Nice beach there. And you know those huts you get, like a hut on the beach, and
where you get changed?
you can get changed in it, but they're better than that. It's like you can put a telly in it, sofa if you want.
Oh, you don't mean the Victorian changing hut?
Yeah,
You
those
mean
sort
like
of things. It's sort of bigger than that.
yeah?
And we were walking down there, and there was a really sort of big fat family in one of them. There was about 4 of them, and you could tell that they've never had a game of anything. Do you know what I mean? They just sit down there, eating ice creams, looking at the sea and what have you. And the weird thing is, the little fat kid, the youngest one, who must have been, I don't know, about 8, he was really fat to the point of you couldn't see his neck.
Yeah.
And he sat at the front of his mum and dad and his older sister. He sat there, and he had a frisbee, and I thought, look, they don't want to play with him. I mean, that's an active game to play, isn't it?
Yeah.
Frisbee. As we got closer, he was just using it to eat Maltesers out of. I just thought, even again, you know, the one active thing he's got, he's using it to eat out of.
Yeah. Extraordinary.
And that just sums up what people are like now when it comes to keeping fit and activities.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Were you sporty, Rick?
I was, yeah. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Were you good at it?
I was good at some things. Was never good at rugby. Never good at cricket. Was all right at football. But those things were the more competitive things that were scary. So at my school, when you're surrounded by, like, people the fun is hurting someone.
Well, it's weird you say it, because I remember the first day I went to play cricket, my mum said, as I was leaving, I was really excited about playing cricket, she went, be careful. I was walking across a playing field once, a cricket ball hit me on the head, I was unconscious for 2 hours. Freaked me out. On the way to play cricket, I thought, okay, always scared of the ball, because it's obviously, as you say, rock solid. I remember a couple of seasons later, I had to play rugby for the first time. As I was leaving the house, she went, be careful with rugby. I knew a kid once broke his back playing it.
I was terrified of rugby. I was terrified
scared.
of it.
Such a scary game.
The ball came to me, I got rid of it immediately.
It's mental.
Yeah.
I don't understand. What I remember is, I remember a teacher saying you've got to play it very carefully because you can get seriously injured, you can hurt yourself, you could be crippled for life. I remember thinking, why are we allowed to still play this game at school?
I was worried about cracking heads.
Yeah.
And a finger in the eye.
How is it not bad?
That worried me all the time, a finger in the eye.
But they removed the asbestos from schools in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
But rugby, it's allowed to play. It's mental.
Yeah.
See, I had a mate called Mark who liked playing cricket, right? And when I used to say to my mum, oh, I just want to go out with Mark and his dad to play cricket, and she never used to let me go. She'd go, oh, I prefer, you didn't. And I used to always think that, it's because it's a dangerous sport, you can get hit on the head by the ball and it's hard, put an eye out or whatever. But it was because his dad used to drive us to the place to play cricket, and he had, his eyelids were too big. So he used to have to sort of have his head right back.
Like one of those old-fashioned dolls.
Right. They clunk back and clunk forward again.
And she didn't like me getting in a car with him.
Sorry, who's this? Whose eyelids are too big? So, growing up, you had a woman who had her head like a bag of spuds.
I didn't know her.
No, you had 2 kids at school with webbed hands and feet and big heads. Yeah. You had a pigeon chest boy.
Nowadays, you're walking around with insects and moths like something from James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah. And you had a bloke whose eyelids were too big.
One thing I've noticed, that because I occasionally go to the gym, and you know those guys who work out constantly to give themselves extraordinary physiques, they're on the trip, they're on the weights, and they're really, I've noticed in the summer particularly, those guys cannot wait to get their shirts off.
Yeah.
Everywhere you see, they're walking around. If they've got a good torso, they are walking shirts off. Even, I think, if you go to nightclubs, I notice there's always one guy who's thinking, well, I have put so much work into this body, I have got to get my shirt off on the dance floor.
A vest, yeah.
And it comes straight off.
A brand new tattoo. I'm not covering that up.
Exactly.
I've paid a lot for it. Let's see it.
Yeah.
But that's what we were saying about bodies. I can't remember why we were talking about it. We've got to a point in science now that you can change your head. Right?
No, well, that doesn't make any sense at all.
It was a program on. It was done in the 50s or 60s where they stuck a monkey's brain on a stick and had it wired up and it still worked, right?
Right, okay.
And that was in like the 60s or
right,
whatever.
okay. Well, to say to change your head makes no sense at all.
Because if you put a different head on a different body, you're changing the body.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I'm about to say to you, though.
What?
That's what I'm saying. That I'd be more confident if I had someone else's body. Because if anyone dissed it, I can go, no, it's bad, isn't it? But it's
What
not
are you
mine.
talking about?
What? It's like, say,
As opposed to someone else's head?
yeah. Well,
What,
it
you'd
wouldn't be me, would it? The head is me.
Well, of course it is. That's what I mean.
yeah,
So
the
what do you
head's
mean?
me.
You'd be happier having someone else's body? What, than your own?
What I mean is, say if you're wandering about, for some reason, there's an incident. You have to take your top off and that, and everyone's looking at you, right? And you're a bit sort of, you haven't got the muscles and that, you haven't got the six-pack.
Right.
Which isn't that nice anyway. I don't know why that's become a nice thing, really, seeing the insides of you. You might as well. I mean, I know I came up with the see-through skin idea, but it's a bit weird, isn't it? You can see stuff.
No, it's the muscle in front of the...
No, it's not. Sometimes
is.
you can
It's
see
not the-
like,
It's not the
tubes.
outline of your
No,
organs.
you can't see tubes.
You can see tubes and veins and stuff.
Well, you can see veins.
Yeah, well, I don't want to see that. That's why we've got skin over it. Is
Well,
what
stop
I mean.
looking at naked men then.
Why
No,
you
but
keep-
sometimes you can't help it because it's been hot, and like you say, there's people walking about with vests on and that. So anyway, what I'm saying is, say if some incident happened, I'm walking about with my top off.
Right.
Girls are laughing at me, right?
Why?
Dunno, they might.
Yeah, go on. So they wouldn't look at your body, they'd all look at your head.
So what I mean is,
Yeah.
rewind that, right, and imagine all that happens again, but I've got someone else's body.
Right.
Whose body?
Just some fella who's died, and my body was injured, and they said, we've got a new body in. You can
Right.
have it. We'll
Yeah.
stick your head on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, say if
They're laughing at you.
they are
laughing at the body,
they're laughing
yeah.
at the body,
Yeah.
but at least I'd be able to sort of go, I know it's a mess, but it's not mine. At least I don't have to claim ownership.
So all of this extraordinary technology that can make put one head on another person's body, so you can go, it's not my body.
No.
But
And it's not your own.
I'm not being funny though. So if you have a body transplant, right, and you're there, you're at home, naked, you look down,
Yeah.
lovely penis and a set of testicles,
Yeah.
right? What do you do with them?
What do you mean? What am I doing with them?
Well, do you like them?
Well, you wouldn't mess about with them as much as if they were your own.
But if you did mess about with them, would you feel guilty that you were messing about with another man's testicles and...
And it's the full body.
Yeah.
No, because they're not my hands either.
You're a genius! You're a genius! So what you're doing is watching someone else wank.
Yeah.
Well, one thing Karl has been doing over the past few months is writing his diary. He's kept that up. I don't know what he's had to write about. All he's been doing is looking at moths and ants and bees and going for walks. But I'm sure it's all in the diary. So, let's have a look at that. Oh, I don't believe he's only gone and written it down.
We went to the park and had a brew. Suzanne read the paper while I played with a ladybird. I mean, it's like a child, isn't it? It's like what a child would do.
Suzanne read the paper while I played with the ladybird. His only friend is a beetle.
It climbed up my arm. It struggled on me hairs.
This is in detail then.
Yeah. It kept stopping every now and then and was rubbing its head with its right arm. It did it about 4 times and always used its right arm. It rested for about 5 minutes, then flew off. Sunday. Had a bit of a to-do with Suzanne because she wanted a lion today. I ate this. Once you're awake, you should get up. I got up and put the radio on really loud. She eventually got up. I told her insects don't have lions, so we shouldn't.
Why are you obsessed
I
with
mean,
insects?
you must be fucking unbearable to live with. You must be a nightmare.
No, I've just started, because I've watched insects a lot, I don't want to keep going on about them, because we're a bit insect heavy. But at the end of the day, if we copied insects, we wouldn't go far wrong.
I don't know what you mean, though. One minute you're saying they're great, then the next minute you'll slag them off.
Yeah, I'll slag some of them off if I don't know what they're doing, but because I've studied them a bit longer, I just think they do
You
it
haven't
right.
studied them, though.
He thinks he's like Darwin.
But you just slagged them off and again. Don't you think people that insects are doing stuff? They're not. It
Yeah,
goes there,
ants.
then it goes back again.
The ant was messing about, but only that one. The others were carrying stuff. That's what I'm saying. There's snidey ones in everything. In everything in the world, you get a hierarchy.
Oh, long words!
Ooh. The bookshelf was dusty, so Suzanne asked me to dust it if I get a minute. I ended up looking at every book.
Just the spine.
Yeah.
Just for a few seconds each. Yeah. Didn't open them.
I looked in the dictionary to see if the word dictionary would be in the dictionary. I didn't think they would bother with it being on the front page, but it was in the book as well.
It's a good point, though, isn't it?
No, it's not a good point, because you didn't tell us anything.
Dictionary is in the dictionary.
Well, of course it is.
Well, why? If you go, how do you spell dictionary? You look at the spine and you go, oh, there it is, D-I-C-T, and all that.
So what does dictionary mean?
It's a book full of words, isn't it?
That's what it means. All books are full of words, you idiot.
How to spell them. And if you don't know
No,
what
it's
it
not
is...
how to spell them.
All right, then, well...
I'll just look up something. No. It's not a book full of words to tell us. No. It's the meaning.
Give us
It's
the definition of
definitive
dictionary.
meaning.
It's a book full of words if you want to know what the meanings are. But if you didn't know...
Well, I'm sorry, what was that sentence?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you didn't know that, then you wouldn't be looking in it, because you wouldn't know the book is about that. So, if you don't know the word dictionary and what it means, you wouldn't be looking at the dictionary, you'd be looking at an A to Z. Because you
Why leave it out, though?
Just because there's so many words in the world, I would have thought they wanted to cram as much as they can on a page, and if dictionary is already on the front...
Is that why you suddenly used the word hierarchy for the first time ever? Did you find that in there?
Did you see hierarchy in the dictionary?
I feel
I don't know where
that
that
big
was.
word has pushed out about 26 other more useful ones.
Yeah, well, Suzanne's been going on about me learning another language, but I sort of think your brain has only got so much room on it.
And the rest of it's filled with lard.
So, if I've got to learn everything I know, again, but in a different language, it's taking up space, isn't it?
You don't learn everything. Oh, God.
It's all
What do you mean?
storage, isn't it?
But you don't have to learn it again. You don't have to learn the concepts again. You're merely
Do you know how
learning
many
vocabulary.
moves there are in the human brain? You don't worry, you won't use them all up.
I feel that he has reached his capacity, though.
Yeah. Well, you need another sort of, you need an update. You need some more memory.
Woke up to some interesting news. It's good when this happens because it sets me up for the day ahead. If it's miserable news, it affects my day. It said on the news that they have found 2 new flies.
Fucking hell, more insects! What have you done? Is that all you've done this summer?
Bong. Trouble in the Middle East. Bong. 2 new flies found.
Ladybird climbs up arm.
They were found in the UK and they were found close to each other. Maybe this happened because they were different than the other flies and weren't expected to hang about together, so that's why they knocked about with each other.
That would happen, wouldn't it?
What do you mean?
There's 2 new flies.
What do you mean? Does it mean there are 2 new flies that are different species?
Yeah, 2 new species, and they found them close to each other, right?
Yeah,
And
but they didn't mean there was one of each.
No. Yeah, they did. They found 2 different ones.
No.
No, they have. Seriously, I know that. That's right. That's a fact. So you've got, like, I don't know the names of them. They give them odd names, don't they? Well, say
Yeah.
call it A and Fly B, right?
Yeah.
Fly A, I don't know. Say that's orange.
This is just...
B.
Lively, yeah.
No,
This is painful.
No, but
This
I'm
is
just making
painful.
it easy
But
for
5B
you.
wears
Okay.
a little hat. He's got a little hat.
All right, yeah, fine. Now, they found the orange one. I went, look at this over here. This is a bit weird. And they've gone, oh, that's a new species. Log it, whatever. And then the other one went, oh, keep your pen handy. Look at this one. It's got a hat on. So then they found them both within the same distance.
I don't know what that sentence means.
Keep going.
They found them both. They found them both within the same distance.
But without interrupting him, let him finish this point.
Let me just make one thing clear. Karl Pilkington just said they found them both within the same distance. Think of that!
Don't know what it means, but go on, let him finish this point.
So what I mean is, they weren't knocking about with other normal houseflies because they were probably sort of going, oh, he's a bit weird. Leave it. Yet, because the other one was also odd, they're hanging about with each other. Don't you understand that? Why is that such an odd concept?
Because you think of it as like two little new kids in school.
Yeah.
They find out they're both new and they've got something in common.
They're both goths, so they start hanging out together.
Yeah.
And this was on the news, was it?
Yeah, just on the radio, yeah.
I know if I looked into that story, it would be 90% wrong.
Bit tired today, because didn't get to sleep as early as I wanted due to a moth getting in the bedroom.
Fuck me!
I got it in a glass and looked at it for a bit and then let it go because Suzanne wanted to go to sleep. Looked up some interesting news. Some people dug up an old body in Ireland. Turns out it's well old and was here when dinosaurs were here. The really weird bit is it had hair gel in its hair.
Right, what is it?
Fella.
Well, no, it wasn't around when dinosaurs were here then.
Just a bit after.
Right, fine. A lot after, yeah, go on. I think any hominid, anything that could even be linked to anything that may become man, is only about 1 million years old, and I think Homo sapien is probably only about 150,000 years old. Dinosaurs are about 150 million to 250 million.
Yeah, no, it's not the age bit, that's amazing. It's the fact of, there's a fella, won't have even had shoes on his feet.
Right.
And yet he was worried about his hairstyle.
Right, well that's definitely not true either. This is unbelievable.
Well, there was a man on the radio doing poetry, says Karl in his diary. I thought I'd have a go at doing a poem about today.
Not really. Steve, I'm a little bit queasy. He hasn't really written a poem.
He's written a small poem.
No, he hasn't really.
Yes. If moths had eyes...
Fuck me!
let me read the poem, okay?
Oh, fuck.
You wouldn't interrupt T.S. Eliot.
Okay. Oh, okay.
If moths had eyes, would they be happier? How do they know they're not dead? Cavemen hunting for food, but not before they style the hair on their head. What would last longer in dinosaur times? A blind man didn't stand a chance. Not with all them rocks about. I'd rather be a blind moth.
Right, it may be the greatest poem
Now,
ever written.
just dissecting it briefly, you attempt to rhyme in the first 4 lines, but abandon the rhyming system in the last 3. Is there a creative decision for that?
Can we have Karl read that?
By all
Sorry,
means, yeah.
just you read it as you would like to. So this is, imagine this, right? Okay, this is going out all over the world. This podcast. And now, Karl Pilkington, a new poet from Manchester, now living in London, England, would like to read a poem.
If moths had eyes, would they be happier? How do they know they're not dead? Cavemen hunting for food, but not before they style the hair on their head. What would last longer in dinosaur times? A blind man didn't stand a chance. Not with all them rocks about. I'd rather be a blind moth.
He said it as though the last bit was going to rhyme. He said it like it was going to rhyme. Oh, God.
No,
It's amazing.
I think he feels as though the final line, I'd rather be a blind moth, is going to be one of those great, a summation, that somehow the moth is a metaphor, the caveman...
No, but
there's no metaphor in that. He really does mean he'd rather be a blind moth.
Yeah, well, I'm just because I've looked at the day's news.
Can we always do that, Karl? Can we always find a day, right, and always sum it up in your thoughts, a poem, just like that? I love that structure. I love that structure. If there's any English students or professors or novelists or poets listening, please email us what they thought of that poem, why it's good, why it's bad. So, give us your thoughts on that. I mean, we would love expert opinion, poets, English professors. Just email us at podcast@rickygervais.com. Now, Karl, apart from being a poet, you are an author now. You've written a book. Which surprised me and Steve, because as Steve said, we thought you'd read a book before you actually wrote one, but you've proved us wrong, and all your teachers wrong, and everyone in the world who thinks you're an idiot. It is actually a very good book. I mean, a lot of it is transcripts from, the podcasts, but you've answered some of your critics, haven't you? And you've tried to prove some of your theories. It's everything about Karl. It is like
all the drawings.
All the drawings. There's new stories, isn't there? There's so much effort. I can't believe it. He's been working on it for months, and it's out on the 18th of September. But you can order it now, can't you, on Amazon.com and Amazon.co.uk.
What's that book called?
It's called The World of Karl Pilkington. Well, thanks very much. Goodbye from me, Ricky Gervais. Goodbye from Stephen Merchant.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from the little hollow, egg-headed moron that is Karl Pilkington.
Right.
Audible hopes you've enjoyed this programme.
Welcome to number 4, season 2, the Ricky Gervais Show, with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant.
Hello.
And Karl Pilkington.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of talk, Karl, that I bully you. Okay? It's for your own good. I'm trying to train you, aren't I? Do you know what I mean? Because, and no disrespect, okay, you are what I would call a stupid idiot.
Well, can I just ask, because there's been an awful lot of emails that have said, will you and Steve please stop calling Karl stupid? Now, They say, it doesn't justify calling him stupid. Now, I don't know what part of injecting a 76-year-old woman in the head so that she lives her life backwards couldn't be considered stupid.
Okay, then listen. Right, I've found some things that I think will interest you, and I want your first thoughts on these, okay? Now, these are facts that I've sourced, okay?
What's the actual topic?
Well, you love animals, don't you? You're interested in animal facts.
Some of them. I don't love them. Some of them fascinate me and stuff, but a lot of them also get on my nerves.
I don't know how an animal can get on your nerves.
They just do. Sometimes you sort of just think, what are they doing here? What are they offering anyone?
Right. See, I'm worried that these facts will annoy you now, but they're meant to fascinate you, and... Okay.
No, I think anything's good as long as it gets you thinking. It doesn't matter what opinion you have of something.
Yeah.
But as long as it gets a reaction.
Okay, then, here you go. There's a frog, Karl. Just a little frog, a poison arrow frog, that contains enough poison to kill over 1,000 human beings.
Why is it that annoyed?
It's not annoyed.
Well, why is it going about killing 1,000 people?
No, it has the potential to. It has enough poison, it has enough toxin in it that could kill 1,000 human beings.
But does it need that? Whereabouts is this? Where's it living?
In the rainforest, I think.
And does it need that sort of power? Is it in that much? Is it getting threatened a lot? Is what I mean.
Well, no, because it's saying, "Don't come near me," and it shows it with its colours. It's got the colours that say it doesn't want to be eaten. It doesn't want people to chew a bit, right, and go, "Oh, I'm an idiot." It's saying, "Look at my colours. Don't eat me. You don't want to come near me."
But then why give it bright colours? Because now it's standing out.
Yeah, and it's going, "Don't eat me."
Yeah, but make it a colour that fits in, like camouflage. Why make it orange? Of course it's going to stand out, and then they'll attack it, and then it'll turn around and bite them and kill 1,000 men or whatever.
No, it doesn't bite. It's the fact that
if you were to eat it, you would die.
Yeah, but who's going to eat it?
Well, things that eat frogs.
The French.
And they go, sacre bleu! You have killed me and 999 of my friends.
But why is everything, like, surviving like this, though? I thought it was all about survival of the fittest, not the one who looks the hardest.
Well, but survival of the fittest is whether you're chosen or not by nature.
No, but I'd survive if I could go about killing 1,000 men at one bite. It's not fair.
It doesn't bite. It's
Well, whatever, if it licks you or whatever. But
no,
it doesn't
not
seem-
if it licks you. If you lick it.
Well, I'm not going to lick it. It's not going to happen. I will not be licking a frog. So it's of no danger to me. So I could still kill it, and there's no chance, at no point am I going to lick a little frog's head. Not when it's alive or when it's dead.
I love the fact it's all about you. It's all about how it relates to you.
And he's annoyed that they're getting away with something. He doesn't like any sly animals. He doesn't like animals hiding. He only wants them hide. He doesn't want animals killing things. Then he wants them to kill things. He doesn't know what he wants.
When they say survival of the fittest, they don't mean that, say, lions have been working out in a gym.
It
Do you
means
understand?
It means the fittest gene pool, and the fittest gene pool is a gene pool that's still around. That's all it is.
Yeah,
if
but-
it's here, it worked. I was trying to explain to you the other day. A slug is as evolved as us.
It's not, though, is it?
It is.
not.
You think evolution is aiming towards
Miles
being
away
human?
from where we are.
What?
It's nowhere near what we're like.
But you're looking at it in terms of this evolution has a will. It doesn't have a will. It's chosen or it's not chosen by nature. A slug got it right. A slug has got it as right as... What do you mean it hasn't?
Well, what was it like before it got it right?
But I think you think, Carl, that evolution is moving towards some kind of super being. Perhaps we're like the most advanced so far, but that one day we'll also have wings
I agree with
and
that. That's-
Superman-type powers.
No, but something can happen in nature. There could be something like there could be less light, there could be more light, there could be meteor storms. There could be something that happen in nature, right? An external force, which means the paradigm goes back to naught. So then something that very unlikely would be the last thing to survive. We don't know what's going to happen. I still don't think you've got the concept. It's one of the simplest concepts. It's one of the simplest models. This is why Darwin's a genius.
But you think that everything, slugs, cats, are all somehow, their ambition is to be like us, to be human, or to have the attributes like us, that they can speak, they can talk, they can think, they can act.
Only because
They don't.
Yeah, but I only think that because when you see people with these pets, lizards, cats, whatever, they treat them like the humans. So I think if you do that enough times, they're going to start getting familiar with
Again,
certain...
Planet of the Apes.
No,
Yeah.
He's
I'm
thinking
talking,
of Planet
say
of the
like
Apes.
Say like you with your cat, the way you talk to it, you give it a little cheeky massage and that when it's stressed out.
No,
It's a cat.
you made that up that it
It's
was
a
stressed
cat.
out. I'm just playing with my cat, right? If anything, the cat is to de-stress me.
So you're talking to your cat, Rick. Is it answering back much? How are the conversations going with your cat?
Well, I have more intelligent conversations with my cat than I do with him.
Yeah, here's one, right? When my gran died, right, she had this rubbish dog, right, and that's all we got left. It's like this little poodle. It was rubbish, right?
Right.
It was called Fluffy, and like my gran looked after it in a way that it was treated like a human. Do you know what I mean? Had a little coat on when it went out and all that. Anyway, so she died. We get left it. My dad's like, oh, bloody hell, right? Before you know it, only took about a month. It was a wreck. Because we weren't sort of bathing it the way she bathed it. We let it out if it wanted to go out. It got covered in oil. It used to go under the car and everything. So it went from looking like this fluffy, poodle to just being a bit of a wreck. It got hit by a car. It ran sideways like a crab and all that.
In the course of how long? A month?
Probably about two months or something.
Yeah.
Now, so it went from being over-treated to just being treated like a dog.
Yeah. But a dog isn't, is not a indigenous species anywhere. We sort of bred those from,
but change
jackals
it. All I'm
and
saying
wolves.
is change it. Take away the dog thing, give someone a frog, and they'll still overdo it. They'll be trying to treat it like if you had a frog. I mean, that lizard thing you've got,
Salamander.
it's still sort of treated as part of the family, even though
Well,
it
it's
does
not.
nothing. I mean,
How is it treated as part of the family?
just the way, it's looked after, that big area that it's got to itself.
We stick it in a case and feed it a cricket now and again. How is that like one of the family?
It doesn't matter because it's in your
It
flat.
is in Carl's family.
It's in your flat, innit? And it's sat in that corner. I just mean, as time goes on,
Yeah.
things get educated as they get older. How old's that lizard?
You don't.
How old is it?
About 15 years old.
Right. Now, it knows more now than it did when you got it, because it's been in those surroundings. It's had its eye on things.
Well, no.
It's
What do
seen
you
out-
think it knows? What do you mean it knows more now? They act on instinct. What does it learn? It knows when it hears the noise of a plastic case being unwrapped that a cricket's going to fall down any second.
Yeah,
That's
well,
all it knows.
Yeah, but it didn't know that in the jungle. So it's already one up. What else has it learned?
Well, I
I mean,
don't
it's
know.
15, so presumably it listens to a lot of Linkin Park, goes on the internet a lot.
No, but do you know what I mean? You've already proved your point. It's like that fella who kept hitting the dog on the head with a stick.
Right,
I've
Pavlov, at no point did he hit a dog on the head with a stick.
But he kept doing it, and eventually the dog went, I'm sick of this, and wandered off, didn't it?
Pavlov
Yeah,
there.
brilliant. Why didn't you write up his experiments? Because he did it a little bit different to that. I love that. Do you know what I'd like to do? A programme where you rewrite, you paraphrase someone's theory. So Pavlov's first. We could do Freud. Give us, what do you know about Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis? Right, come on in.
I don't know anything on him.
Well, look him up. Educating Carl. That's your next week, right? Let's do another podcast next week. Then they get an extra one free, the people who paid for it, right? We're going to hear about Sigmund Freud, okay?
Hmm.
Here's an interesting fact. If the frog annoyed you, this might annoy you. A blind chameleon will still change colour to match its surroundings. You're aware that the chameleon can...
Yeah, whatever it sits on.
Yeah.
But then what happens when you put one of them on a mirror? No, does it get stressed out, or what? What's it copying?
Well, it probably doesn't need to copy anything, because it looks at itself and it goes, oh, look, looks like that. It's brilliant. God, that was fast. That's the fastest I've ever done that. That is brilliant.
So they can go any colour, there's nothing, you can put them on anything, and they'll go to the thing.
I don't want you to have a chameleon, because you'd just be trying to see what it could and couldn't
Try and
do.
catch it out.
I know, yeah.
Pop it on some tartan.
But again, say like the frog thing, right?
Pop it on the telly.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it fast enough.
Why does the chameleon need that skill of copying a colour? Because at the end of the day, that lizard, chameleon, whatever, that's mainly sticking in the woods, isn't it? By trees, by grass.
Right.
Why can't it just stay green? That's all it needs. Those colour changes are only for camouflage, aren't they?
I don't know. Some of them are for attraction, some of them to show moods, anger.
No, but I just think we're encouraging them. You see, maybe this is evolution or whatever, but at the end of the day, because they can change colour, they're wandering out of their area. They can be wandering about, through a car park and everything, just because they'll go, well, I don't want to get seen, change to the colour of concrete. Whereas...
Or into the colour of a Fiat Punto.
But they should just stay green. Stay green, right? Stay in the woods and stay safe.
I love this public information for chameleons.
Words of advice for chameleons.
Oh, God.
Stay green, stay in the woods, stay safe, good night.
Oh, God. Why are there blind chameleons around?
I'm assuming that the blindness has no impact on the colour change, presumably is an automatic.
It must be.
But then that's not going to wander about much anyway, is it? If it's blind, it'll probably stay where it is. So it doesn't need to keep changing. If you know what I mean.
I don't know what you mean, no. I never do, though. Right. The only time a turkey whistles is when it panics.
Christmas time, then.
Yeah. What do you think of that, Carl?
It goes from one extreme to another, doesn't it? You've got a frog who's going mental.
It's not going mental.
Thousands of people.
No, that's not.
That's got that sort of power. Then you've got a turkey who's whistling for help.
You think that you should redress the balance a little bit? You want to give... What would you do? Give the frog the ability
500 and the turkey 500?
I don't think it should be. I reckon 10. 10 because
You've made your point with 10, haven't you?
Do you think that he's got 1,000 in his lifetime? Like he's got 1,000 people? I don't think you understand.
I just think
He doesn't really need 1,000 people. That stat is about that if you were to boil up a frog, decant the poison, there would be enough poison to split between 1,000 people. It doesn't mean someone goes, "Frog, you have the power of 1,000 people in your lifetime.
Choose them wisely.
But I just think if it needs that sort of power,
It should be fighting evil.
well, it's not. it's knocking about the wrong area, isn't it? If it's under that much danger, move.
As ever, thanks very much indeed for all of your emails. podcast@rickygervais.com. It's lovely to hear your feedback. Many of them obviously responding to the inanity that Karl has spouted over the various shows. And a lot of people just want your opinion on things. They just throw things at you. They just want to know what you make of them.
Right.
For instance, are you familiar with multiple dimensions? The idea of multiple dimensions?
Go on.
Well, you know, there are theories which state that we are just in one of an infinite number of dimensions. And in all of those other dimensions, every possible variation that you could imagine exists. So there is a Karl in one of those other dimensions that's both man and woman. There is a Karl that's got hair. There is a Karl that's got growing out of his face. There is every conceivable Karl. And this is a scientific theory, not science fiction. It's a scientific theory.
Is it a planet?
No, it's a multiple dimension. It's another dimension that exists in parallel with the dimension we are living in now. So we're living in our dimension, and right next to us, intangible, unable to communicate with it or touch it or interact with it.
So
there
I'm
are
still
multiple
doing
dimensions.
what I'm doing now, but I'd be sat here with a knob on my head.
Exactly.
Exactly the same life.
Exactly the same life, but with the knob on the head. Now, because there's an infinite number of dimensions, there's another one where you're not doing this. You're sat there with a knob on your head, but you're talking French.
Why is this happening?
There is one, Karl, and this is a fact, that you're talking French with a knob in your mouth.
Exactly. And no one can make his head or tail of what you're saying.
No, because it's pidgin French anyway.
Exactly.
But who came up with this?
Well, it's because there are phenomenons that happen at the subatomic level that people are explaining as being that, for instance, atoms or very, very small molecules are disappearing and reappearing. And people are saying...
The fact that we're trying to dissect this theory, and you said very, very small molecules.
Well, yeah, okay. Atoms, neutrons...
And is there anything that we look at on this planet that we go, that's weird, but it would fit in normal in another dimension? It's just so happened.
I think
no, but say like the Elephant Man.
Yeah.
Was he all right, but he was just in the wrong dimension?
I love this.
Well, it's an interesting thought. I mean, of course, there is one dimension that where you are the ruler of the world, and everyone thinks you are a genius.
Yeah.
I'd hate that though. I just don't understand why we're worrying about this though.
No, nor do I.
Well, we're not worrying about it.
Well, they are, because scientists and that sat in a room somewhere going, what's going on? What's happening in the other dimension? But we can't get to it, can we? So that's why I don't worry about it.
I agree with Karl. It's largely pointless. It's academic. It's like when a person does philosophy, and the first lecture he ever goes to, he comes out and he goes in the student union, and he goes up to someone who's doing English or science and goes, "Oh, you're right, mate, that table's not there." They go, "What?" They go, "The table's not there." He goes, "What? How do you notice?" They go, "What? What are you talking about? The table's not there." They go, "Isn't it there? Can you feel that? Is it there or not?" And his beret falls off.
Yeah. It doesn't. It's not a big chat up line as well when you've got a little bit of philosophy and you try to spout off. Because of course I told you before, haven't I, when I was doing a school play, and there was a girl and I was trying to crack onto her, but I was going through my sort of, you know, fifth form phase of sort of reading Catcher in the Rye and all the rest of it, rebelling against the system, and I thought, well, she's gonna find me appealing if she realises how smart I am. So
Can I just ask you one thing?
Yeah.
Is this before or after the phase when you thought a bow tie would sort you out?
This was before the bow tie phase. Yeah. There was a phase, I should say, for new listeners, where I, for about 6 months, wore a bow tie because I thought it made me look sort of like I was from a Jeeves and Wooster book. And I thought that was very urbane and sophisticated. But, yeah, we were doing the school play, and there was one point where everyone was hanging out in one of the rooms, music rooms, getting changed, joking, laughing, cracking onto each other, right? I was sat in the room next door, empty room, on my own, right, reading Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, the sort of kind of, you know, populist philosophy book from the 70s, just sat reading that, in the hope that she would walk in the room, see me, think, my God, he's obviously wise, and presumably, you know, get off with me. Must have sat there for about an hour and a half before anyone came in. And she came in eventually, and I thought, ding dong, this is it. She came in and said, have you seen Martin Wells? I said, I think he might be next door. She disappeared again. I gave another 15 minutes on the hope that she'd come back. She didn't. I went in the next room. She was getting off with Martin Wells.
Oh no!
Because he'd been dancing around with no trousers on. So all I'll say is, there's a valuable lesson learned. I think this was the same girl. I was at a party once, and I was this girl. I was trying to impress her. And, someone lit some joss sticks. You know, just gonna give it a kind of hippie vibe, right? And I didn't know what joss sticks were. I thought they were some kind of drug, like cannabis. So these joss sticks are like, and I started going, because I thought we were all supposed to be getting high on these joss sticks. I started going, whoa. Oh man, these joss sticks they're really doing me in, man. And everyone said, what do you mean? I went, oh, they're good stuff. This is good. And they said, what do you mean, joss sticks? They're not drugs, there's an incense. And I went, yeah, I know. I'm just saying they smell great, is what I'm saying.
Meanwhile, Martin Wells on the table, trousers down, everyone just throwing in money.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
I don't know if it was, there was another party where I don't think it was the same girl, but there's inevitably a girl there that I'm trying to, you know, impress. And I went up to, it was a house party in someone's house, so I didn't know anyone there really. I was only
Steve, you come without trousers. Well, it worked for bloody Martin Wells.
And I went up to the toilet, and I had to do, you know, number twos.
Brilliant.
And I did them. There was no toilet paper. At the party. And I was like, and I was scrabbling around in this bathroom thinking, what can I use? There was nothing. And I was thinking, oh God, what can I do? And, as I recall, in the end, I couldn't make anyone hear. I didn't want to sort of go out into the hall and stuff. So I had to shout out the window into the garden where everyone was.
No!
Yeah. And someone had to come and bring me some. And, once again, it didn't... Well, I wish I'd Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, then I could have ripped pages out and wiped my arse.
Oh, chimpanzee's that? He's gone and written it down again.
That's the ever-changing jingle for Karl's diary, excerpts of which we like to read each week. Suzanne said today can be my day because she has been a bit of a pain with her illness and that. So she said I can do what I want today. We went for a walk around Green Park. Loads of tourists were about looking at the Queen's house. She was in because the flag was up. I wouldn't want to live there. Why wouldn't you want to live there? Just because it's right in the centre of town?
It's just not in a good place, is it? It's got a roundabout outside and that.
Really busy.
It's pretty good.
I went for a pee in the toilets. When I came out, a pigeon had shat on Suzanne's coat. She was in a bit of a mood about it. A bird shat on my ear once. I left it for about 10 to 15 minutes until I got home. I washed it off, and in that 10 to 15 minutes, it had corroded me ear.
He's had a lot of problem with ears. He told me the other day, he got up, washed, had a bath, had some breakfast, went to the shops, to get a newspaper and had a chat with a woman in the corner shop, got home, pottering around, looked in the mirror, he had a cotton bud sticking out of his ear. He went, what annoyed me was she didn't say anything. Like it's her responsibility.
Yeah.
No, but she knows me well enough to sort of, you know, go, you know you got a cotton bud in your ear.
No, she knows you well enough to go, Carl's got a cotton bud in his ear. I've seen worse. When you've got a cotton bud in your ear, what interrupted
I think Suzanne called or my dad called or something, and then because I was running a little bit late because I'd been talking to them, the earbud was in, I just popped my coat on and went to the shop.
Carl, you got a toothbrush in your mouth. Oh.
Walked through Covent Garden. There were 5 of them mimes knocking about. I don't understand why people take pictures of mimes. Everyone looks like a mime in a picture.
That's so true. That's really true. If the point is they're staying still, if that's their... a picture won't tell that story. That's absolutely true.
My dad took the cat to be put down today because it kept bumping into things since losing its sight. My mum said she's not going to get another one. She said the parrot is looking worried as it's seen the budgie and the cat go in the space of 3 months.
Your mum said the parrot's looking worried. What happened to the cat then?
It gets into a lot of fights. It lost one eye, and then it got into another fight and lost another.
Oh,
and it was just walking around bumping into stuff. The vet sort of said, oh, we can do stuff to keep it alive and all that, but it's a bit out of order, isn't it? Because it costs a fortune, they shouldn't tell you.
But...
Mum and Dad can't afford to have eyes put on it and stuff.
No, you can't have eyes put on a cat anyway.
No, but they said, oh, we can do something here. We can have its eyes sorted out.
But I don't think you should be allowed cats.
Why?
Not the Pilkington family.
Why not? Well, they have
keep
good
dying.
lives. Yeah, I know, but they have good lives whilst they're still knocking about. It's just that we get through them.
It's a good job you're not going to have kids.
Oh, God almighty. I can't believe it. The cat that kept throwing up. So his mum shaved it. Unbelievable. Dry wipe cat.
A mate sent me a story on email about a bloke in China who has this weird illness that means he can't have his picture taken. That's not the weird bit. If he tries, his body doesn't appear in the photo.
Don't talk.
He has had group pictures taken and everyone appeared apart from him.
Don't.
The story had a picture next to it of a family photo, and it said he was stood at the back, but you couldn't see him.
Right, he wasn't in the picture.
He was in the picture.
No, he wasn't in the picture.
We've done loads of tests and stuff.
No, I haven't done loads of tests. This is bollocks. There's no way this is scientifically possible. What's his Yeah, now he's wanted. Just a white bit of paper up on the police wall. Have you seen this man? What man? If you see him, tell us. You're talking.
Suzanne watched the film You've Got Mail tonight for about the 14th time. I don't think you could properly fancy someone without seeing them, unless you're blind. I think it's odd when blind people have affairs. Why is that odd?
Just because most stuff is based on looks, isn't it? So you think once they found someone, they're happy with them. Stick with them.
But no, it's not true. Most things are based on looks.
What I mean is when you first like meet someone and that.
Well, then initially it's only looks because you don't know them.
So that's what I'm saying.
But that's a ridiculous thing to say, isn't it?
Well, no, it's just what I think. I'm not saying that's like fact or anything. I'm just thinking if you're blind, why mess about?
You're still basing on it if it's only looks that people find. What?
Yeah, I'm just saying. So why is a blind person messing about having an affair?
Because I'm saying that. Presumably that blind person isn't basing anything on looks.
Alright, I mean, maybe that's not, I mean more like...
Do you want me to cross it out? Shall I cross it out?
It's just the same way, I think I put how, you know, people, I read something in a Sunday paper once with some bloke who was going out with some woman, he ended up going out with a sister who was a twin. If you're going to have a change, have a change.
Spoke to Ricky about trips to the moon. He was up for going just to see what the world looks like. I came up with the idea of a giant mirror on the moon that would reflect the world back. He had a few questions, but I had the answers.
Yeah.
He changed the subject. I won.
Right. My first question was, how would you get it up there? He said bit by bit. That'd be a good mirror then, wouldn't it? I said, how big would it be? He went, you'd still need a telescope. I said, how would you get it on the right side of the moon, always facing the right? He went, what? He went, does the moon move then? I went, yes.
And if we don't like the mirror on the moon, we can always wallpaper over it. It's Suzanne's birthday tomorrow, so I've got to get her something. I sometimes think it would be best if we didn't celebrate birthdays. I think people would live a bit longer if they didn't know how old they were. Age puts restrictions on things. She said something about wanting one of them posh badges to put on her coat. I will look for one later.
I love the fact that around the time that you've got to buy Suzanne her birthday present, you think that birthday presents are a bad idea.
Got up early, it's Suzanne's birthday, gave her the card and present. She was well happy with her posh badge. She wore it to work. It's quite nice to hear a moment where she was actually happy for once in your company. They always say when you get someone a present, you should buy them something they wouldn't buy themselves. Daft rule. I want something I would buy myself if I had the money. When I was young, me Auntie Nora got me a present I wouldn't buy myself. It was a T-shirt with her face on. Looked at what's been going on in the world. Someone has found some people who live in an old town somewhere where they are so old-fashioned they still walk on all fours. There is a picture of them and they use shoes on their hands.
That's not old-fashioned. Why is that old-fashioned?
That's some kind of regressive evolution.
Yeah, really old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Well, it's not true, is it?
It is true. It's somewhere in,
Well, I believe they have found a group of people that are living and walking around on all fours, but
Yeah,
I
but
don't believe they're wearing shoes on their hands.
And I don't believe they haven't evolved to standing up.
No, they just haven't seen other people walking on 2 feet.
Don't talk all your life.
That's all it's about, though, isn't it? You copy. When you're a baby, if you were stuck in a room, you'd wander about on all fours, because that's the way, that's an easy way of getting about. So you only walk on 2 feet because you see everyone else doing it.
Well, I don't believe that is the case, because as I understand it, some of the family are walking on 2 feet. So I don't know what the ins and outs of it are. I know there's a forthcoming documentary on the BBC, so maybe we should watch that and then we'll all know what's going on. Instead of just leaping to conclusions because you read half of it on the internet and then skipped on to something
all
else.
I'm saying is, though, you would wear shoes on your hands if you're roaming about like that.
So you've just confessed there that you leapt from fact to fiction, did you, in the space of one diary entry?
It's just that I saw a little picture.
And you assumed that they'd be wearing shoes on their feet?
If they've got shoes on their feet, they might as well have them on their hands, because their hands are doing the same as the feet. If you're not going to wear them on your hands, don't put them on your feet then.
I'm beginning to think some monkey news was bollocks.
Treated Suzanne to her tea, went and got her a curry from the shop opposite. While I waited for the food, I read a story in the Metro newspaper about an alien gang that kept appearing in someone's garden.
Christ.
The bloke moved, but when he used to pass the house at night, he would still see the aliens knocking about, hiding underneath his old shed. There was other alien stuff, but I had to go as the food was ready.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying, that.
Yeah, load of bollocks again. Well, good. More, drivel from Carl's diary next week. Right. Rogbusters. Quick.
Right then, so last week gave you some initials, again, of artist or a band.
Quick.
Cryptic clue and that.
Yeah.
The first one I gave you, the initials were ND.
Yeah.
That Jamaican fella, he doesn't want anything. Right? So you got to think about the accent there.
Yeah.
He doesn't want anything, so he's not sort of demanding anything.
Okay.
No sort of demand, nil demand. Nil demand. So it's like Neil Diamond.
They'd say Neil Diamond, please.
No,
Can I have some Neil Diamond?
No.
Right.
Nil demand.
But just now it was all to do with, I've got no demands. Now it's a Jamaican person going in and asking for Neil Diamond in a Jamaican voice.
Yeah, I know, but it's a cryptic clue, innit?
Doesn't work.
The second one was, the initial was E. I asked him to pass me the ball by using the red. What do you do if you chuck someone a ball?
They head it back.
Edit back, yeah.
They head it back.
So you'd say, edit to us. Editors. That's editors.
What is it? Is it?
It's a band that are
No, there's a
quite
band
good at the
called
moment.
The Editors, but there's no band called Editus.
Editus, what's that? Is it Greek? Is it a Greek band?
Again, cryptic. Just you got to
No,
think
again,
cryptic.
bollocks.
Then the last one, TR was the initials.
Yeah.
The cryptic clue. He's got the woolly ones, but I've got the ones that run and charge at you.
Go on.
What I forgot?
Dunno.
Well-
Sheep. Something to do with sheep.
Right, something to do with sheep. They're the woolly ones.
Yeah.
What are the ones that run and charge at you?
Oh, they're woolly as well.
No,
The
but
rams.
not as woolly. The rams, right?
Yeah, they're.
The ram ones, right? If you write that down,
No,
What's
he's not
that?
even write it down. It's
that's
a.
Ramones.
The ram ones.
The
No,
ram
but
ones.
it's so you say it, isn't it? It's not because it's not.
No, it sort of changes about a bit. Just cryptic.
But your understanding of the
cryptic.
word cryptic is
Yeah.
it can be anything.
What am I thinking? Cryptic.
Cryptic clues in a crossword have a logic to them. That's why people are able to
So,
answer them.
Well done to Neil Fennon, who's in Canada.
Well, I just
He's
don't know
got
what
all
that
them-
says about Neil.
Bollocks this. Right, do the next week's one.
Right then.
Just get it over with. We've got to stop this. Monkey News is coming back.
No, it's not coming back. There's nothing going on. We're not doing it. Right, SC are the initials of the artist of the band.
Go on.
SC. The cryptic clue.
Don't stop saying cryptic because it's not.
The clue is, I went into the restaurant on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, and the fella making the food was there each time. Right? SC are the initials. I went into the restaurant on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday if you want. The fella making the food, he was there each time.
So you
going on
changed it.
SC.
Was he there Saturday and Sunday or not?
He can be if you want. I'm just saying he's there a lot.
Oh, this
Work it out,
this
SC.
is like pulling
I'm
teeth.
trying to hurry it up. And the second one, go into that woman's store and rip her off. Right?
Right.
That's C.
Okay.
C. Go into that woman's store and rip her off.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're going to do that.
Oh, don't mumble at the end of it. Go on. Just do the clue.
And the last one, the initial E,
Last one ever.
you have had a go at laying down a track, but it ain't perfect. Right? So you're sort of making a track.
No,
like a
just
music-
do the clue.
You're making a track. You've
Right,
had a go at
give
laying
us the
it down,
clue. Don't
but it
just
ain't
talk
perfect.
around it. Right, the initial is E.
E.
What's the clue?
You have had a go at laying down the track, but it ain't perfect.
Fine.
A music track.
Yeah.
Well, no, but no. You can't. No, these people can't ask questions.
Well, I can.
Oh God.
So send them in, podcast@rickygervais.com.
Right, that's the end of another Ricky Gervais show.
Oh, thank God for that.
Another one next week. We've got to give value for money because
Oh.
this is. So we've got to. What we do is, because this is such dreadful bollocks, we're giving more of it.
Yes.
That's
Lucky them.
Yeah. So it's cheerio from me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant,
Bye.
and Karl Pilkington.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Hi, Ricky Gervais here with me, Steve Merchant,
Hello there, alright?
and Karl Pilkington.
Right.
Yeah. Welcome to the fourth podcast in the series of 12. It's after Christmas now. That's it for another year. All right, everyone had a nice Christmas.
Oh, yeah, I had a blinder. I had an absolute blinder, mate.
Good presents, Karl. Right.
Yeah, not bad, yeah.
Get anything good? Odds and ends.
Not that I can think of.
Odds and
Just
sods.
bits and bobs.
Yeah. A friend of mine got a gift, or rather gave it as a gift. I don't know if you've been familiar with these. It's a charity organisation, and you go on their website or you phone them up, and you can give someone else the gift of, say, a goat for an African family. So you say, "This is what I've bought. I've bought goat," and they go, "Oh, brilliant! Where is it?" And you go, "No, it's going to a family in Africa." And it's a sort of goodwill thing, you know what I mean?
So
People
you buy an African family a goat
that will help them for years.
and it's
to come.
like you're saying, well, I would have bought you a present,
Yeah,
but
I've used that money wisely.
Yeah, so it's almost like they've given
Exactly.
the present. They've given the goat.
Yeah, it's a beautiful idea. But as soon as he told me about it, I thought to myself straight away, knowing Karl's views on charity and giving, you know,
Yeah.
particularly at this seasonal time,
Yeah.
I wondered what his views would be.
Well, are they happy with the present over there? Like the people who are getting it?
What, the African family?
Yeah. Is the African family sort of going, oh, I hope someone gets us a goat?
That's nothing to do with Christmas for them. They're not sitting around thinking, I wonder if Santa brings us some food. it's a long-term thing. These are happening all year, I assume. It goes towards a pool of money that goes to... It's not like they get a... You're an idiot. What, you think an African family wakes up and there's a little goat with a ribbon tied round it, and they go, oh, look what Santa brought us.
Look, and that mince pie's gone on that glass of milk.
You're such an idiot.
No, but what I'm saying is, does that family want a goat?
Yes.
But why?
It's not they want a goat, it's they need a goat. Do you think... What do you think this organisation is?
Just arbitrarily giving goats to people.
They're going to say, oh, I wanted Nintendo. What are you thinking?
Well, what I'm saying is, right, let me put myself in their shoes. Well,
this'll be
they
a
haven't got
first.
any. But say I'm one of them, right, over there, right? I'm hungry, right? I'm sat there, it's Christmas Day, right? I open it up, open the present, little goat there, right? Now, if I was one of them, I'd be going, not another mouth to feed. At the end of the day, there isn't enough food to go round for themselves, never mind a goat. Don't they say, like, having a dog and that is quite expensive? Sometimes they say, you know, what with all the injections you've got to give it, the food, the tinned food and everything, it mounts up. And what I'm saying is, that's all very well giving them a goat. Who's looking after it?
Well, I'm assuming it's all above board. The goat's had its injections. That's what some of the money goes towards. It's given to them so they can milk it and have milk and cheese and whatever. I don't think it's a burden. What is this? What do you mean? They wake up Christmas Day and open a present. It's not like
so there's
that.
a thing. There's a goat-shaped thing in wrapping paper. I wonder what that could be. I hope it's that goat we asked for. My God, it is.
All I'm saying
It's just a nice marketing way of distributing wealth. It's the way of going, this is a nice gift. It's like people sometimes they say, don't send flowers at a funeral. They don't send flowers. Give some money to the local hospice. Yeah. It's just a way of redirecting cash.
But the thing is, why do they want that goat? What's the main reason? What does a goat give you?
Milk.
Right. Now, wouldn't it be easy to just send them a bottle of milk? Without all the hassle and the headaches that come with it. That's all I'm saying. And the other thing is, think about the goat. That was happy over here. Suddenly, it's on barren land. No grass.
I'm gonna burst! What do you mean?
You didn't send a goat from here.
I'm saying, who's happy at the end of this, right? You've got a fella who hasn't got a present over here because the mate bought him a goat, right? So yeah, let's do this properly. So there's a tick. He's not happy, right? Then you've got the person who's opened it, who, like you said, wanted something else, right? It's a goat. They go, who's going to look after this, right? So tick, they're not happy, and then you've got the goat going, what am I doing here?
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Tell you what, a lot of people are wondering, Carl, is what I received from Ricky this year.
Go on.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I remember actually after my birthday he said, oh yeah, I'll be getting you a little gift. Forgot. So I've had nothing from him this year. He's got a little bit of cash in his pocket now. What I'm hoping is that maybe he'll pool it over the next 5 years and buy me something I've been reading about recently. Now, you definitely love this, surely. Have you started seeing this now? Virgin are starting plugging Virgin Galactic. I think it's something like 200,000 quid, and you'll get a chance to go in a space shuttle into space. Now, I don't know what your feelings are, Rick. You know, I know you've probably got a bit of cash in the bank.
Honestly, I was thinking of giving you another signed extras DVD.
Anything. It's the thought that counts, so that would be great. But
because I've got some knocking round, I could give you one of those. I know you've already got one of those, but
Sure.
I don't mind. They don't cost me much.
No, great.
And do you like the book Flanimals?
I know it's aimed at 5-year-olds, so I don't know why I personally would want it. But
you know that's going to be in the little selection box for you.
Great.
But no, the trip into space. I don't know about that.
I mean, you've got a bit of cash. Would you think about that? Would you be interested, you and your missus, going up into
I don't
space?
know. You have to be. I mean, it's not the money. There are things that I would spend 200 grand on as a little folly, but I think an individual jetpack, for example.
Right.
You know, I'd do that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the Earth from you know, a couple hundred miles up. That'd be good. But I don't know if that's quite worth it yet. The other thing is the safety, because I'm worried that I want to see a lot of people go up there first.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be the first bloke to go on an aeroplane.
No.
No, you know, I'd want to see a few pioneers go. It's really safe before I got on something
Well,
like
I
that.
believe the actress Victoria Principal is volunteering herself. So I think she maybe used to be in Dynasty or Dallas. So,
Well, I'll see what happens to her.
Yeah.
If you know, I think if she can do it, then
No, if
it
Vicky
might-
P comes back all right, rather
Then,
like those monkeys they sent up years ago,
yeah,
then we'll all be a lot more relaxed.
exactly. If they put electrodes on her and it all
Exactly.
works out fine,
And
I might-
there'll be a banana, you know, shoot issuing bananas, and there'll be
Yeah.
buttons. Press left, press right.
yeah, and I might consider it. Carl, thoughts?
Going to space?
Mm.
Nah. It's not worth it.
Why? Wouldn't it be a fascinating experience to go into space and look back at the Earth?
There's no out there though, is there?
There's
mean-
no there. Say that again.
Well, there's no out there though, is there?
Right.
I mean, at what point are you all meant to be happy? Do you know what I mean? You're floating about up there, and because you don't get out, do you?
What, you mean to do some duty-free shopping?
I'm just talking. You don't go floating about, do you? You stay in your seat.
Well, they probably let you move around on the shuttle.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about getting out. For me, when you
What,
go
you
on
want to
holiday,
get out into space?
yes, but that's what I'm saying. When you go on holiday, the flight bit isn't the best bit of the holiday, is it? That's the bit you've got to do. So what I'm saying is you've got to stay on this, and then you go back home. So you don't take luggage, right? I don't see the point.
Right, so you're there, you're sat in your own clothes for the whole time, same clothes for the whole time.
But I don't understand what is the point.
I think it's the view. I think it's two things. I think it's the view and being able to be part of an exclusive club. I went into space. It's all that thing about man conquering nature, and you're one of that elite few that have managed to pop up, see the world from a distance that no one else can see it from, and then pop down. You know, that's it. Of course, yeah,
So you all that way just for the view.
yeah.
Is it worth it? I mean, there's a lot of other places I haven't seen anyway, right, before I think about that. I think if you've done everywhere, I haven't been to Scotland yet, right?
Right, yeah.
I'm not being funny, but do you know what I mean? So just have a look in your back garden before you go looking in someone else's.
In space.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would make it a trip worthwhile for you? I mean, if you did go into space, if we gave it to you free of charge, we said, Carl, go up into
I know
space.
the answer. I know the answer to this, Steve. He's thinking, I'd like to meet some aliens that can talk like I do,
Yeah.
and I can understand them, and they can tell me something. Like what? Oh, they met God, he was all right. That's the sort of thing. That's what he's going to say. He'd like them to look like monkeys in spacesuits.
Yeah.
That would be his ideal thing. He'd like to go to the planet of the
He'd like
apes.
to go to the planet of the apes.
He
Yeah, I'll
would
do that. If
love
they
to
could
go
arrange
to the...
that.
Look, he's nodding. He's
Yeah.
nodding. Thoughts, Carl?
Yeah. I mean, for me...
What do you
it's
mean,
just-
yes?
Well, yeah, that'd be brilliant.
What would be brilliant?
Seeing a little alien and that, having a chat with him, finding out what's been going on.
What's been going on?
No. But don't you think that... Like, I mean, if you bought me that as a present, right,
Yeah.
either of you,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be that happy. For me, that's a little bit like...
Well, that's annoying because we've got you a trip
We
to
just
space
pulled
and
together.
a goat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we.
Do you know how, like, I am interested in sort of going on another planet, right? Not
Carl, you are on another planet, mate.
no, but do you know what I mean? It would be quite sort of interesting.
How do you think you'd get there?
Well, yeah, you'd go on a rocket and stuff, but what I'm saying is, at least you know when you get there, you're getting out, you're having a bit of a wander. But I wouldn't be happy in just the journey bit of it. That's what I'm saying.
That's great, isn't it?
But the thing is, right? I was looking into it a bit because I was reading about the Virgin Atlantic
Yeah.
thing, right? And I was reading something that in 1971, right? 3 of them went up there. Can't remember the names. Wasn't the main one. It wasn't like the Buzz and the Armstrong one and that. Another 3 blokes went up, and there was one bloke in the rocket, right? The other 2 wandered off, had a walkabout, seeing what rocks they can find and that. And that bloke who was in the rocket, right? He was the loneliest man ever in the world.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know if that's some sort of profound poetry Or I don't. Do you know what I think he's trying to say? I think he's trying to say that he was. What are you trying to say?
No, stop for a minute, because I just want to just recapture that moment. Just say that again, that sentence again.
Right. The other two had gone off picking up rocks.
Yeah.
Right. He sat on his own in the rocket, and he was the loneliest man in the world.
Okay, I know what he's trying to
know
say.
what he means.
I do. Right.
I don't know what he means.
Well, right. He's trying to say he was, by definition, a human furthest away from all other human contact.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I said.
Yeah, okay. No, you said loneliest. Loneliest evokes an emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like he started crying and writing poetry and listening to Morrissey records.
You mean he was the most remote man?
Well, yeah, he was saying how, like, he's on the rocket on his own, right?
Yeah.
And I think I worked it out because it was in kilometres, right? And I think it turned out that they, right, the other two spacemen picking rocks and that, they were 2,500 miles away from him, right? So they were miles away. They
What, 2,500 miles? Yeah.
But they had each other.
They had each other.
Yeah.
You had the world right across the other way, everyone getting on with their lives.
Yeah.
He was on his own. That's weird, isn't it? But what I was thinking is, right, say, because I always sort of try and put myself in a situation.
Yeah.
When I hear about a weird thing that's gone on, I always think, what would I do? You know what I mean? And I was thinking about it, right? Do you think when he got up in the morning, he still bothered to put his clothes on?
That's the first thing that came into your mind
No,
when
just
you
because
pictured him
I
in
always,
there.
you know, at the end of the day, even if, like, my girlfriend Suzanne's out at work and that, I'm not happy walking about with everything out, because you never know what's going to happen.
What do you mean, like getting it trapped in the microwave?
Well, I just mean, you know, you never know
Yeah.
if someone's going to turn up.
No, I don't like what I don't like. No, I always pop some pants on or a towel,
Well,
even if I'm
not
alone.
always. Because I've knocked on your door when you've been stood there with.
No, he's
Yeah,
taking
but
his trousers off.
I
when he
did it
comes to the door.
especially,
Oh,
knowing
right.
that you were there. I've done it especially to annoy you.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so.
But do you know what I mean? Do you think he was walking about the rocket with his tackle out, or did he
floating
go,
about, yeah.
well, you know, no one's watching here?
Do
Do
you
know what I
reckon
mean?
it floats up or down?
Depends
in
how long it
space?
is, isn't it?
Depends how long it is, yeah.
I don't know what I mean by that, but that seems to make sense.
Yeah.
But don't they have cameras for NASA to monitor what's going on inside the spaceship?
Not all the time. No, I bet they've got to give him some sort of privacy.
No, that would end up on the internet.
Yeah.
Him
Well.
floating around with his floaty knob.
Well, if you are the man who was up in a space rocket and was for a short period the loneliest man in the world, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what you did with your time, how lonely you felt, and also did you float around with your cock and balls out? What was that like? Did it float up or did it float down? These are just some of the questions that we'd like. So if you are that person, or maybe you know them, maybe they're a neighbour of yours, then you can get in touch with us at podcast@rickygervais.com.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
We've done radio and stuff in the past, Rick, and we have never had the kind of response that we've had from these podcasts. So, I mean,
It's
people
amazing.
are emailing in by the hundreds of thousands. It's meant, well, maybe not hundreds of thousands, but I didn't count them, but thousands certainly. Crazy amounts of email. I couldn't really get through them. I've just managed to pick out a few.
It's because it's global now. It's people all around the world are listening, and that's so exciting. We've got just loads from America, Australia. It's mad.
Yeah, New Zealand, Canada, and these are just some of the ones that I've pulled out from the email because there's so many of them. Podcast@rickygervais.com if you want to get in touch. Rob says he listens to the show in his exams, which I'm sure cannot be a good idea. I mean,
No, because that's a waste. What I'd do is the night before, I'd record all the answers and then listen to that, as
Yeah.
opposed to me, you, and Karl Pilkington.
but surely you're not allowed to listen to your stereo or your iPod in an exam. That would be crazy, wouldn't it?
Well, he's probably got it's probably up his back,
Right,
a little
yeah.
wire wired to him, covered in sort of like some sort of fake flesh and
Yeah.
hair, and then just pops into his ear.
It's all changed now, though, isn't it, as well?
What do you mean?
Well, they're allowed calculators and that, isn't it? It's just sort of.
Sorry, I had calculators in my exams.
Yeah,
What world?
What do you know about exams, Carl? You
but-
never showed up.
But what I'm saying is, years ago, a calculator wouldn't have been allowed. We've moved on a bit now, haven't we?
What year was this
I don't
though?
have an iPod.
With loads of people with abacuses.
I don't know.
Anyway, Rob's question was this. Brilliant.
I've never heard him admit that before. I think we've broken his spirit.
Yeah.
Carl, you go, I don't know. Oh no, we might have put an end to the phenomenon that is Karl Pilkington.
Monkey news still to come.
He's back!
Anyway, listen, Rob's question is this, Carl, and it's specifically to you. Carl, if you could have a superpower, like Superman, what would your superpower be?
Can I suggest consciousness?
Yeah.
Can I have the power of thought?
Remember, you've already got opposable thumbs. So cross that one off the list.
Oh, go on, Carl.
There are so many to choose from. Telepathy, X-ray vision.
Flight, invisibility,
Choose it wisely.
strength, intelligence.
But why have I been picked?
Oh, for God's sake!
No, but I'm just saying.
It's Rob's question for you.
But I'd just say, does anyone else want this? Or, do you know what I mean?
Oh,
No,
what do you wish you could do that's impossible is the
because-
question,
no,
or what? What do you mean?
Because with that comes a responsibility. is what
With
I'm saying.
enormous power does come great responsibility.
So would it? Would you like Spidey senses? Is that what you're saying? Would you like some senses? Would you like some sense? The power of sense.
Come on, Carl. You know what these superheroes because they can.
I know, but
they
it
can
always
freeze things.
They're never happy, are they? Do you know what I mean? Spider-Man that wanted to tell that girl that he could climb walls and that. He's like, I can't. Superman didn't never tell Lewis and that.
Who's Lewis? Who's Lewis?
Lewis.
Who's Lewis?
It's just a pen pal of Superman's.
Lewis, his little secret chum. Yeah. All right, Superman. Hello, Lewis. What are you doing? Superman. Who are you? I can't tell you, Lewis. Brilliant.
You know, Hulk. He wasn't happy. So.
But you're being allowed to choose the superpower. You don't have to get it forced upon you like the Hulk.
Hulk, he wasn't happy. It's true. He's got a theme.
True.
He has got a theme. There's not many happy superheroes, are there?
Leaving aside the superheroes you're already aware of,
Yeah.
what superpower would you want? You don't have to fight crime with it, Carl.
Everyone around the world now is thinking, what can Carl choose? Let's deliver it to him now, Carl. Think about it and give us the answer, please.
Let me just remind you some of the other things. Invisibility.
All the time, though, or can I sort of turn that on and off?
Let's say you could turn it on and off. Would that interest you?
Yeah. I'll have that.
Right. Okay, and what would you do with this power of invisibility?
Just sort of wander about and that, just not get seen.
It's a brilliant power! It's a brilliant... And it's put to such brilliant use! It's brilliant! Well done!
And why would you want to walk around and not be seen in that? What would you gain from that?
Don't know. You could sort of go in shops when they shut, so you don't have to go.
How
with
would
the
you get
crowds.
in?
Just get in just before they lock up.
Oh, yeah! How would you get out?
Wait till the morning.
Brilliant.
So, hang on. So, that's your use of invisibility. They found the power of invisibility. You want to sneak into... Bear in mind... No, hang on. You want to sneak into HMV, right? Wait for 12 hours and then buy something.
I love it.
Just so that you don't have to be in there with other people.
Do you know what? I don't want it. I don't want a power.
Why not?
Because I just don't think it'll do me any good. I think it's more of a hindrance.
I love this. It's like, just think of his presents. We've given you a trip into space, and the chance to be invisible.
Not happy with any of them.
Yeah, what he wants is a voucher for HMV.
Yeah. He just wants some tokens for a record shop. Just going through a few more of these emails. This one is from David. He's in Los Angeles, California, 22 years old. He says he loves the show, but he says, with respect to Carl, never before have I understood so little of what a man says. Virtually everything that Carl talked about was aloof to me. What on earth was he ranting about? Flies and condoms, monkeys and pushing the left button, cavemen and dinosaurs. And that's just some of you. I mean, let's be honest. If you are in America, I mean, firstly, the accent is probably a problem.
But that is the best write-up we've ever had.
Yeah. Flies and imagine if you're a new listener, flies and condoms. What on earth does that mean? This one's from Kent Plummer from Nova Scotia, Canada. He says, Carl, he's wondering if you've got any personal mantras that you could pass along. For instance, he reminds us of Ben Franklin's famous mantra, "Waste not, want not."
Who said that?
Ben Franklin.
What did he do? What was his job?
Benjamin Franklin was a well-respected American politician from the 1800s. He was a sort of thinker, a philosopher, a scientist, deeply respected. Also a big political figure. He features on the dollar bill or the $10 bill or something. Yeah. So he's one of the great sort of American Enlightenment thinkers. Right. And he came up with the mantra, "Waste not, want not."
You must know "waste not, want not." I mean, that's just...
Do you understand the phrase "waste not, want not"?
No, not really, no. What does it mean?
You've never heard that?
I think I've heard it, but I don't know. I've never used it. But when someone has said it, I don't know what...
Well, in context, I mean, all I'm going to do now is paraphrase that and put some prepositions and stuff in it for you. I can't work out how you can't work out what that means. It's like, don't throw stuff away because you might need it, and therefore... You won't be wanting anything because you didn't throw it away. So,
so he was a bit of a hoarder.
Well, if you don't waste food, for instance, then you won't...
He's a bit of a hoarder!
For God's sake.
No, but I'm just saying, you know, he's a man in power. Is that the best thing he ever said?
No, I'm sure he came up with many, many profound things.
Why is that one
he did experiments in electricity and conducting electricity, all sorts.
But that impresses me more, inventing electricity... than someone...
He didn't invent electricity.
Wait a minute! Don't impress you more than what?
Just saying, waste not, want not. I don't think it's that good. It's not even catchy. What I don't understand is why he was the first person to sort of suggest, look, don't go chucking that out, keep it, you might need it later.
He wasn't the first person.
Say that again. That is brilliant. Why hasn't that catch on? That is amazing that you've just come up with there. That's poetry. How would you word it?
I'd just say, whoa, don't be chucking that out. You might need that later.
Don't be chucking that out. You might need that later. Karl Pilkington.
Whereas someone like you that waste not, want not is perhaps a little bit more pithy, a little bit more...
We should go through great sayings and phrases and say
if he could... Well, firstly, does he know what they mean? And then secondly, can he improve them?
That would be brilliant.
We'll do that next time.
So, all right, let's see. Okay, Winston Churchill. Never have so few done so much for so many. What do you think of that? Do you know what that means?
So he's saying...
Well, it's with regard to the Battle of Britain and the pilots that gave their lives.
Yeah, I'd just be annoyed if I was one of them who gave a lot for a few or whatever, right?
No, gave a lot for so many. If you were one of those few that gave so much for so many, i.e., it means these few good men, their actions freed the world. They freed the world. They have an impact on every person in the world, and they were few brave men, and that's what he's saying.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if I was one of them men who gave up his life, right, I'd want a name check. I don't want to be bungled in with everyone else who is saying a load of blokes gave their lives. Well done on that. See you later.
That's brilliant.
Did you just say bungled in?
Bungled in, yeah.
He made up a word.
You don't want to be bungled in.
You made up a word. See, that's it, you see. We've been looking for it. That's original. That's Karl Pilkington. I don't want to be bungled in.
Email here, Rick, from a man I know you're going to look forward to meeting one day. Paul, the party animal Parker. I imagine he had a wild Christmas.
Oh,
imagine the fun he got up to.
He's sitting now in sunglasses with his mum giving him some soup because he's partied too hard.
Well, I'll tell you this, I wish I was round there for New Year. Imagine what he's going to get up to.
If he recovers in time, it's going to be mental. What's he want?
Anyway, Paul, the party animal Parker, he sent in a fact. That seems to be his thing now. He sends in facts that he thinks might be of interest to us. the kiss that is given by the bride to the groom at the end of the wedding ceremony originates from the earliest times when the couple would actually make love for the first time under the eyes of half the village. Now,
Wow.
a couple of questions straight away. Firstly, this is almost like a Karl fact,
Yeah.
because there's no specific time or place. It was
No.
earliest times.
Earliest times.
I don't know whether that means the wedding ceremony in this country, in America, in Africa, who knows.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah, it's a little bit vague. But this was the thing that struck me. Actually make love for the first time under the eyes of half the village. And you wonder, why is it only half the village? Was it like, were they raffling off tickets?
Yeah, the winners. Yeah, exactly.
You come and see two people getting it on. The rest of you, no, tickets only. It's cordoned off.
It started off, and then a few of them got bored.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
once you've seen one stroke, you've seen them all. Yeah, that's about as good as it gets. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't know if there's any truth. But what about that, Kai? How would you feel with that if you had to?
At what point does that happen? Is that like, you know, they go, right, you know, I do. Get your knickers off.
Well, presumably, if it's the origins of the kiss, you may kiss the bride. The old vicar used to say, as they were jumping over the broomstick, he used to go, right, give her one.
Yeah.
And then
You may knob the bride. Don't know how quick the lovemaking has to be, whether you've got to get in and out, boom, and then, you know what I mean, because people are hungry, they want to eat, they want to have a disco, or whether they can go on for hours and people are just eating,
I'll
chatting.
tell you what, Sting's wedding must have
They go
been
on
a
for
long
hours.
of affair, wasn't it? The guests was bringing in their
People
own
brought
cake.
sleeping bags. Thermos flasks.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
right, do you know we've chatted about charities before, haven't we?
Sure. Yeah.
Done a lot of stuff on that, right? Just coming back from Manchester, right? Got off the train at Euston,
Yeah.
right? Got off the train, walking through the busy bit and stuff. There's this fella stood there, right? Like a charity worker.
Yeah.
Right? Nice looking fella. He's got his suit on, the tie and everything, quite respectable and that, right? Look down at his bucket. All money's been put in the bucket and that,
Yeah.
right? On the front of the bucket, right? It says collecting for the homeless at Christmas. Now, why can't they do that?
What, the homeless?
The homeless people. Why is some fella taking his time out, right? His own time where he could be at home. Why?
Some of us have got homes to go to.
Yeah.
Why? Do you know what I mean?
What, you think just give them the
well,
buckets?
what are the homeless people doing whilst he's doing that? Is what I'm saying. What have they got on the timetable?
Cut out the middleman. Cut out the middleman. Give all the homeless a bucket with homeless written on
For
it.
Christmas?
Yeah, no admin.
No.
Just keep everything you get, mate.
What do you think of that?
It's a brilliant idea.
What would prevent a homeless person and an entrepreneurial homeless person just getting a bucket and writing that on there themselves?
Could I suggest something? Hunger, some drug addiction, traumas, often mental illness. Just possibly too depressed to get up, put a suit on, and go to Euston Station with a nice bucket with some writing on it.
And then, right, I was thinking about that, right, and I was walking down the street in London with Suzanne. Saw a little homeless. Well, I didn't see the homeless bloke, right? I saw a leg,
Right.
sticking out of a doorway. I thought, here we go, right? Walked past it, right? You're not going to believe this.
Go on.
Homeless
Yeah.
Chinese fella. I've never seen one of them. No, I'm not having a go, right? But have you ever seen? Do you know what I mean? That was a shock.
I
to me.
really don't think I have. I think he's got me there. I hate to say it, but I must say I can't remember ever seeing a homeless Chinese person. No.
No, I suppose you're right. Thinking about it.
Weird, isn't it?
What
Actually, so I was walked past and I said to Suzanne, "Did you see that?" She went, "What?" I said, "Just look back there." She said, "What?" I said, "That homeless fella. Look back at him." She said, "What?" I said, "He's Chinese." And she said, "Yeah, good point."
Good point. Of course she did.
She said that to shut you up.
She didn't want to get into a conversation with you. Oh,
And what's
God.
your point, really? What exactly is your point? You're
No,
just
it's
perplexed
just
'cause
that
you've
we
never seen
were
it.
chatting about homeless and that, and I saw that, and I just thought, you know, I just found it a bit odd.
Right. Well, if you are perhaps based in America or Australia, Canada, have you ever seen a Chinese homeless person? This doesn't count to any listeners in China, but anywhere else, have you ever seen a Chinese homeless person? Podcast at rickygervais.com. If you have, maybe you've got a picture you can send us as well. But this is what we're looking for now. We're looking for how many Chinese homeless people can we find by, let's say, 2006. January 2006, January 1st. How many Chinese homeless people have you seen? Rick, it's that time again. It's what the whole world is waiting for now.
Is it
every
Monkey
week.
News?
It is Monkey News. Please perform live the jingle.
Why'd you say that?
Oh, they've got a few people saying, "Oh, is that a pre-recorded jingle?" Yeah, like anything's pre-recorded.
No, it's different
Like
every
we've got
week.
that technology.
I'll give it a big one, shall I?
Give it.
Oh, chimpanzee, that monkey news, you
There we go.
Right then, well, got an email from John. If you've got any monkey news going on in your area,
Let us know. Podcast@rickygervais.com.
Oh God, amazing!
just bung it on email. And this one sent in from John. Don't know where he is. But, do you know, like, they're running out of TV ideas and that?
They're running out of TV ideas.
Well,
Are they?
they've done a lot of stuff. I mean, if you had to come up with a TV idea now, you struggle, don't you? Because every idea you come up with, it's kind of been done on it.
Sure.
Okay.
Right? It's like inventions and that. Right?
They're not
so-
getting monkeys to come up with TV ideas, are they?
Well, no, right? But there's a TV channel in Moscow, right? And I think they had a bit of bad luck or something, a lot of redundancies and that, right? And whoever was in charge of it got a bit mental and got rid of loads of people, right?
Yeah.
And they come in the next day and they were like, right, are we ready to go live and that? And someone comes running in with a clipboard saying, we haven't got any people left, right, to present.
Such nonsense.
Right, but I tell you what. Right, okay, carry on.
So he goes, what?
If just one employee turns out to be Simeon and is doing a good job, I'm never doing this radio show again.
So this TV channel, it's having a lot of problems and that. They've got to go live, right? He's like, what am I going to do? Anyway, for some reason, right, there was a chimp knocking about.
For some reason, that's the key piece of information,
boy,
but we didn't get it. We didn't get it.
It doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't matter.
It does.
It doesn't matter. Imagine
Anyway.
if that was in a film. And they're going, well, I can't see where this plot go. Well, he's just there. He's just there.
So anyway, so he sort of says, get it in a suit, right?
Why?
So, because they're running out of ideas, the clock's ticking, they've got to go live with something.
What do you mean? What he's
What, is it a
presenting?
news programme?
He's
Well,
presenting.
Listen, it's a chat show. I am not...
They can't
Again,
talk.
don't have a go at me, have a go at John, who sent this in.
Right,
And
be
this
quiet, let's hear it. Let's hear it again.
So anyway, so like I say, so they're going live, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, what have you. Chimp sat there on the chair. He was like, look, let's just get through tonight's show and worry about this tomorrow, right?
What are you talking about?
Look.
So they put a chimp in a suit. What was that handmade, or were the sleeves a bit short on him? You idiot! Think.
So anyway, it's sat there, right? And they're going, right, here we go. Good luck, everyone, right?
Yeah.
Chimp's there.
What programme is this?
It's a chat show.
Whose chat show is it?
Well, it's the monkeys.
I
man.
like the fact that
It's
they...
the monkeys now, is it? Do they say?
I like the fact that they put the chimp in a suit. It's like, no one's going to take this chat show seriously if he's not dressed up, if he's not smart.
Slovenly, look at that slovenly ape.
So anyway,
Oh.
let's get to the point of it and that, right? So anyway, so they go on, right? It's all going
Didn't
brilliantly.
happen. There's no way this happened.
Here's a fundamental
anyway.
question. How was the chimp asking questions?
Not sure about that bit, but all I've got is the stuff that was on the news site for this. Like I say, I've
But
given
it's
you,
rubbish.
Yeah, but I've given you some facts.
No,
I've
no,
told
no.
you there's a TV channel in Moscow that's having problems, right? I've explained that
No,
bit.
it's this rubbish.
They've got rid of the presenters. The monkey sat there, right? Don't worry about it. Anyway, I'm telling you, it goes all right.
It
So
goes
anyway,
okay, in case you were worried, Rick.
he's sat there, right?
Absolute
They get to the
shit.
first break, they're like, can't believe it, right? Viewing figures and that, they're loving it, right?
What? No. What? How did they know the viewing figures in the break?
Please do not interrupt the
And
news.
what did the chimp
At
do
the
in
end
the
of it,
first half?
They had a big guest on that week and what
And what
have
did
you.
he do? Just talk to
was it?
himself?
They walked out.
So Cher comes on,
I'm
yeah.
not sure, but say if it is Cher, right?
No,
Right, the main gaffer is like going, oh, Cher's going to go mental at us, right, for putting
So
that on
it
with the
is.
monkey.
No, it is Cher.
No, it's
In
Cher.
his mind, it's Cher sitting there talking to a chimp in a suit.
So anyway, she
and they're
comes
filming
off-
it for Moscow TV, and the ratings are going through the roof.
Presumably there's a translator, because Cher doesn't speak either Russian or chimp.
So she comes off, right, and the bloke who's in charge is like, she's going to go mad. She's going to go mad there. She walks up, she goes, I love that. Right? She said that's one of the best interviews, right? So anyway, they decided, right, it went so well, kept him on. He's still there.
I love the fact that Cher was an idea that Steve threw up, and now she's going, I love that, I love that, I love that, Jim, get me back there. I want to go to Moscow, never mind. Unbelievable.
Don't have a go at me, have a go at John, but, you know, if you've got any monkey news, send it in.
Podcast at rickygervais.com.
From the creators of The Office, Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant. Extras, the first series, now on DVD.
Who are you? Nobody. What's that? Who? Nobody. That's right. Nobody. And who am I? So the Starsky Hutch, I can never remember.
You are guaranteed an Oscar if you play a mentor.
I've just written a sitcom, but I wonder if you could give it to anyone you know.
Is there any nudity in it?
Well, it could be.
Men or women?
Either. Well, just women. Yeah.
I will make it so.
A painfully funny double disc. Extras on DVD now.
Thanks for listening. Happy New Year. Particularly to our friends at Positive Internet.
Oh, I hope those guys have a wild
They
time.
host this podcast and they do a brilliant job. Happy New Year to everyone around the world, and in particular, those guys at Positive Internet.
And also, Paul Party Animal Parker, have a blinding New Year, because I imagine it's going to be crazy.
You don't need to say it to
your
him.
mum's house.
I'm insulted that you have to tell him that, because there's no way you need to tell him that. He's going to have a blinding New Year, so don't waste your breath, Steve.
That's all from me, Steve Merchant. We've got Ricky Gervais here, and of course, Karl Pilkington.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Pablo Picasso once stated, "We all know that art is not truth. Art is a lie that makes us realise truth." From painting and poetry to symphonies and sculpture, the arts bring beauty and illumination to some, confusion and frustration to others. But what is art? The idea of a work of art, created by an artist, did not truly exist before the Renaissance. And what value do the arts still have? Do they still make us realise the truth, or are they increasingly rarefied and obsolete in this digital, disposable age? With me to discuss the wide spectrum of the arts are Stephen Merchant, graduate of the University of Warwick and award-winning writer.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Karl Pilkington, a man with no qualifications, very little education, but who is now known the world over as a man with a head like...
All right.
Well, I suppose if I can pick up on something from your introduction, Ricky, you posed the question, in a sense, what is art? It's a very broad term.
It's a very difficult one as well. I think the earliest people to ponder it were the Greeks, and I think they thought that art was, and its point was to try and emulate as close as possible the beauty of nature. So they knew art was a sort of, a quest for beauty, and I suppose they thought nature was pretty perfect in its aesthetic, and so the point of an artist was to try and tap into that.
Well, let me throw that question over to Karl Pilkington.
What do you want to know?
Well, we were just trying to clarify what art is. Ricky's just referring back to the Greeks.
It's just something for your eyes to look at.
Right.
It's just a change from the norm, innit? I mean, that's why I think most people have it. But then, the problem is, I'd never buy a piece of art. I don't see the point in buying something, because I know that my eyes will get bored of it eventually.
Right.
So it's better to keep it in a museum, like a lot of places, you know, a lot of museums keep the stuff. They rotate it, because people get sick of looking at it. They shift the art around, don't they? People go, I'm sick of that now. They move it around the world, let someone else's eyes look at it.
Well, that's more to get everyone the chance to see it, as opposed to people who looked at it once and now sick of it.
Oh, not the Mona Lisa again. If
No,
I
but
have to
how many
stare at
times
that
can you
little
look
bit.
at the same thing? I think there's a snobbery with art. I think people do go,
Well,
have
I
you
think
seen
that-
the new one at the Louvre? Oh,
Well,
yeah,
I think
it's
there should
lovely.
be a snobbery with art.
Why?
Because the world is full of idiots, and just because there's not safety in numbers with art. I think you should be a complete fascist when you're creating a work of art. I don't think it is open to utilitarian or democratic referendum.
You end up with the X Factor winner that way.
No, but that pleases the masses. That's what I'm saying. When there was a painting knocking about when I was a kid, right, called The Blue Boy.
Yeah.
Now every house had one, right? It turned out that it was just a bloke who had a load and he was flogging them to everyone. But the thing is, that sums up art to me. Someone's got a load. Do you want one? Go on, then I've got a wall to fill. And they stick it on. It's not. No, what does that represent?
Well,
what's that going to bring to the room? It's just filling a gap. And that's what art is to me. It's filling a gap that would otherwise have now in it.
But you're obsessed with the functionality of things. This is all you're ever obsessed with. What's its function? Things always need to get you from A to Z in some way. And art's not about that.
Have you got much art in your house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it gives me pleasure, and I don't get tired of it. I don't get bored.
Do you look at it every day?
What? It's there, isn't it? It just adds.
Yeah, but other things
a
are there.
pleasure to
Dust
it.
is there, but
surprisingly, I've not compared.
I think
art
I've
to dust as often as I perhaps should. But the thing about, and this I think may be intriguing to you, Damien Hirst, of course, is more of a conceptual artist like Tracy Emin, and a lot of what contemporary art does is followed on from a guy called Marcel Duchamp, who I'm sure you're familiar with. Now he famously took a gentleman's white urinal like you'd find in a pub toilet, and he put it on its side, and he signed it with a fake name, and he put it in an art gallery. Now he did that in about 1917, perhaps a bit later.
It just annoys me, because there'll be snobby people who haven't got a clue, and they're looking at that and they go, oh yeah, I see what he's trying to say.
Well, that might make them think. They might.
Damien Hirst, I don't feel angry with Damien Hirst really, because he's
Right.
getting away with it.
But why does that annoy you?
Because it's people falling into the trap. Damien Hirst, before he dies, I bet he goes, what a laugh that was. I had everyone on.
There's a very good point as well, because some people think that the greatest art form of the last 100 years is marketing.
Yeah.
Some people say that that is his art, that it's not good enough to do it. You've got to then get away with it. And if the point of art is to inflame, I don't think anything inflames people more than the discussion about whether something's art, or if someone's taking the piss, or if someone gets 50 million for something, do they deserve it? Is it worth a hospital?
Well, what do you think? What do you think of the shark in the tank?
I think I was blown away by it. I thought I'd never seen anything like it before.
It was sort of spectacular because it is so huge and so vast, and to have put a shark, in formaldehyde, and to have hung it in an art gallery, it's very striking when you see it.
Yeah,
it's a remarkable achievement.
But what is he? Is he an artist or a fishmonger? What he's done, anyone could have done what he did.
Yes, but not everyone did it. He did it. This is an interesting point that you raise. It's the same old point you always raise. Not anyone could have done it. That's always the same point you make. Anyone could have done it.
Carl,
but they didn't do it.
You could say the same about Michelangelo. Is he an artist or a painter and decorator?
Well, it hasn't caught on, has it? Like the crying boy photograph. No one's having them in their house. No one's gone, oh, have you seen this? Have you seen the new trend, a shark in a tank? No one's got the room, no one wants it. And that, to me, shows you what's popular. At the end of the day, if everyone wants one, it's got to be good, hasn't it?
But I think if people were given a chance to appreciate more sophisticated things, then they would. And I just think that's true in all walks of life. It's an acquired taste, and the best things are an acquired taste. They really are.
Well,
if all you eat is processed cheese and white bread, you get a taste for it. But if you try something that's, you know, in my opinion, better than that, then, you know, you'll leave that behind.
That's pretty rich coming from you.
I know, I love a bit of cheddar, don't I, on Mother's Pride.
Yeah. Whereas if you were to be offered perhaps some calamari, your reaction would be...
Squid, get it out of my face.
Sure, yeah. But I take your point, Rick. Thanks for it anyway.
Calamari was an artist, by the way.
I mean, I haven't got pictures in our flat because of that mirrored wall I've got.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, it's tiny. You've been in it. I've got windows on one wall, door to get in on the other, kitchen on the other, mirrored wall on the other. So there's
No
nowhere
space for
there.
art.
There's no space for art.
I'm intrigued how you sit at home. Where's the sofa?
At home,
Yeah.
facing the mirror.
So you sit looking at yourself all night,
Yeah.
as opposed to a painting.
Yeah, but at least that changes each day.
No, it doesn't.
It does. The picture
No,
changes.
it's not. It's round and miserable every fucking day.
No, honestly, it's good to, because you don't look at yourself otherwise. Especially me, I haven't got any hair to comb or anything, so I don't look in the mirror as much as the normal person. So, whereas now, I'm looking there every day.
So you're sat at home staring at yourself?
No, because the telly's in front of the mirror.
But are you not distracted by yourself?
Yeah, you do. When the adverts are on, you look up, and if Suzanne's sat next to me, I tend to talk to her through the mirror.
What do you mean? So why don't you look at her when you talk to her?
Well, you don't have to turn your neck or anything. There's no neck usage going on. I can just look forward. I look at the telly, lift the eyes up, look in the mirror, look at me, look at her.
What does she do? Look back at you
we're
in the
used
mirror.
to it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like there's more people in the room in a way. It's like,
And they're further away.
there's nothing odd about that. Why wouldn't you use... It doesn't matter. Your
Sorry,
eyes, remember, your
why
eyes are
wouldn't you
still...
talk to your girlfriend via a mirror all the time? Is that your question?
Well, no, I think it's quite normal. If your head is facing a mirror where you can see everything in that room, remember, it's a small flat, I can see everything that's going on in there without moving my head. Stephen Hawking would be well happy. So I can look forward, she's sat next to me. If I'm watching the telly, I can say something. Now, she's getting the sound from me still, because she's sat close.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're further away, but things look better from a distance anyway.
So that's how you managed to keep this relationship alive?
Maybe.
You're such an odd little man.
But no, it's not odd. You see, there was a woman on the estate who did use... have I told you about Miss Peggy before?
No.
It rings a bell. Go on.
I think I told you ages ago, it's this fat woman who used to be on the estate. She had a three-wheeler bike. And her husband...
Push bike, pedal bike?
Yeah, like a tricycle thing, but a big one.
Right.
She used to sit her husband in the basket in the back. Cycle about, whatever.
Yeah.
She was known as Miss Piggy. Anyway.
Oh, is this the one that she used to beat him up so your dad pretended to be a policeman?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the one, yeah. You remember?
No, I don't remember this.
Yeah, she used to always duff her husband up and that, and people in the area knew that she was being a bit tight on him. And my dad went round with his mate and sort of...
But what's this got to do with the mirror?
Anyway, well, the way she used to communicate, she used to always go in quick save and nick biscuits. And if anyone went up to her to say, stop nicking the biscuits, she'd pull out like a little mirror out of a bag, and she'd look in it, but talk to you via the mirror.
Oh, man!
What?
This
So she was
place you
insane?
grew up, it's weird, isn't it? It's
It was really weird.
Like
It used to scare me.
It's like a Salvador Dali painting. you exist in there.
Yeah. It's really, really
So
weird.
hang on. So she used to talk to people through the mirror because she was mental.
I couldn't sit, watch the telly, and look at me watching the telly in the mirror all night.
No,
That's
no,
weird.
that would
Why?
be really weird.
It's really weird, Carl.
I'd be very conscious of myself.
No,
Conscious
I
of the
think
way
it
I
gives you,
sat.
it gives you confidence and that, and if you are
Gives you
sort of...
confidence.
Well, yeah, because you're seeing yourself more and you pick up what habits you do and stuff like that.
So what have you changed through your viewing of yourself?
I sort of grew a beard the other week, just something different to look at for a bit. And then you get sick of that, it's like a piece of art. Change that, have a bit of a shave.
Can you see the back of the telly in the mirror?
A little bit, yeah. If the flat's a mess, it's a mess twice.
Oh, God. the earliest art, which we know, which we call cave paintings, they date back between 30 and 10,000 years BC. Even those people tried to brighten up their cave with a bit of art. So in many ways, they were more advanced than you.
Yeah, but they didn't have a big mirror. I mean, if you're living in a cave, let's face it, you're not going to go mad if your kids start drawing, doodling on the cave wall, are you? Doesn't matter.
Right.
Brighten it up. But they always did the same thing. It was always a yak, wasn't it?
Well,
it was always a yak.
Yeah, but they drew what they saw. I mean, yeah, I love the fact that 30,000 years ago they're being criticised for being a bit literal.
No, but surely, if all you ever see when you step out the cave is a yak, do something different on the wall for when you get in.
What?
Why is it always a yak on every wall?
Is it always a yak?
It's always a yak. Whenever you see these Tom Robinson Time Team programmes...
Who's Tom Robinson?
He's the guy who did Motorway, isn't he?
Yeah, and a 70s singer-songwriter. Tony Robinson, you mean?
Tony Robinson. Whenever you see him digging around, they say, hold up everyone, get the brush, what's this? It's always a yak. Yet they pretend they're interested.
So you're saying that you wouldn't have, you'd have been sort of, no, I'm not going to draw a yak, I just saw a yak outside.
This is what I'm saying to you about trends. One person has it, the next caveman goes, oh, I'll have one of them on my wall. I'll do a yak. Why was there no one just doing something a bit different?
Well, it's not true. They did. It's not true. This thing about it's a yak.
It's just in your own head.
The programmes I've seen, I've been to Pompeii, where they had doodling on the walls, and that was all like knobs, tits and arse, all over the shop. Now, do that now, people go, that's a disgrace, rub that out, clean that, get it down. Whereas now, if you see one in Pompeii, they go, oh, look at that, look at the detail on that. Well, and that's what I'm saying, there's snobbery in art. It's the same knob. The knob has not changed.
Yeah, but I imagine in 50,000 years' time, if they dig up, a cubicle and there's tits and arse, people will take pictures of it
won't
again.
Be. This is the interesting thing with the way we live now. We're cleaning stuff up constantly now. There's no almost no record of our time because we're getting rid of everything. We clean everything up. Everything's clean. Getting rid of rubbish, recycling everything.
Well, that's a very good point. Is graffiti a valid art form?
Some of it is.
I think it is, yeah. I mean, we're not talking about the classic spunking dick, which is still, I mean, it's still great, isn't it?
Well, I mean, if
you see a lovely clean white wall and you see a spunking dick on it, you're going to laugh.
Always laugh. Do you add hair to the testicles when drawing a spunking dick?
A few. The testicles.
Because it's always clean. My testicles are always clean.
Really?
Yeah,
I put the 4 or 5 bristles sticking out straight.
See, I always thought that was a kind of commoner version of it.
Mine looks like, I don't mean my real one, I mean my,
your illustrative.
Yeah. It looks like 2 gooseberries and Thunderbird 2.
Do you add much detail, at the tip of the...
No, it's a straightforward. It's dissecting across, just a line across to show the helmet. Yep. Then one little line for the eye.
Do you tend to keep the same number of droplets coming out? Droplets.
I do 3, but I don't do the line. I actually do the little teardrop.
The little teardrop droplets.
Yeah. And that is the spunking dick. When
I was at school, it was referred to, and this may be specific to Bristol, it was referred to as the sacred. I've just drawn a sacred.
Oh, really?
I don't know where the origin of that was.
Some graffiti's funny. I saw one in London. It just said, Rachel is a big-arsed, big-chin. Now, I think Rachel's going to see that and know, well, I'm the only big-arsed, big-chin round here. I don't know how big her chin was.
Sure.
I think of her chin maybe looking like the arse.
Yeah.
It's like the big arse out there, but maybe she couldn't see the last part of it because the chin was in the way. Rachel is and that's all she could see. Now,
where was this graffiti written?
It was in, near Centre Point.
So, do you think someone was so angry with Rachel?
Maybe Rachel nicked this woman's fella.
Right.
And she went out.
Yeah, and scrawled that.
Yeah.
In a lot of different places. I saw one that was something, I don't know, it was back in Bristol, it was something like, Michael Peters is gay. And I always wondered if that was Michael Peters himself who was having trouble coming out of the closet.
Yeah.
And was just writing that in a number of different places. So that by the time he finally mentioned people, they went, oh yeah, I knew that anyway, I saw it in the toilet.
Sculptures. What do you think of sculptures? I mean, because that's something that really is getting into the 3D world there, isn't it? No longer do you have to represent something as 3D. You can make something. You know, is it... You know, the statues are amazing, aren't they?
They're clever, aren't they? I mean, they always look the same.
Well, that's not true, is it? Because recently there was quite a controversial one, a huge one, in London. The pregnant thalidomide woman. What do you think of that?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Thoughts?
I wouldn't have it in my house.
Well, there wouldn't be room, because it would just be you, Suzanne, and a pregnant thalidomide watching telly.
I don't know what he was trying to say. It's,
Maybe she was saying, OK, we've had the human form. This is an example of the human form.
Yeah, but do you think she started off trying to do normal, and it was like, oh, I've chipped a bit off?
One of the arms got chipped off.
Well, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? And why, you see that square, Trafalgar Square, you've got that. Nelson's column, he's got one arm and a leg missing or something and a patch over his eye. Then you've got the thalidomide. Why can't they just do a full person?
Whoa! That was what they saw. That was what the artist saw.
It's about confronting us with certain preconceptions of what we expect of the human form, what we expect of sculpture. It's probably a little ironic comment as well on the famous Rodin. It's been wrapped up with all kinds of ideas of maternity, of the human form, of what sculpture is. Why wouldn't you put that in a big public place?
But what about the subject? Did you think, who's that subject? Who is that woman?
No, not really, because thalidomides are around and we've all seen one. It's not like a shocking image. It's one of life's little things that it chucks out. There's some out there. So
Amazing.
it's not shocking, is it? I don't understand what you mean. I think what I thought is, it just goes to show we're sort of running out of ideas.
What do you think of people who are so angry at art they try and censor it or they try and destroy it? Do you think art should ever be censored?
It's where you put it. If it's in a gallery, then it doesn't have to be censored. If it's in Trafalgar Square, where everyone's wandering around having a nice time, you don't want a 12-foot... So it's all about where you put it. I think some art looks better because of where it is. Angel in the North, that's a bit of art, but it's a bit of a surprise, isn't it? You're driving along a miserable motorway.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that over there? Gives you something for your eyes to look at again. Motorways are the most boring place to drive. But you go, oh, look, there's a bit of art over there.
Yeah, but then again, should you be
North.
looking at art when you're going at 70 miles an hour along a motorway?
Well, yeah, because it's really big. You can keep your eye on it and
Look in the mirror.
It's not a problem.
Wait till you go past it and look in the mirror like normal.
So you like the Angel of the North?
Because it's something in the middle of nothing.
Right, but if you put it somewhere else...
Stick it in Trafalgar Square, you'd go, oh, more clutter.
Now, you've spoken, Karl, about, art and what impact does it have, blah, blah, blah. And as Ricky's just pointed out, of course, in some instances, art has been considered incredibly controversial, very provocative, and has been banned. Famously, one thinks of the Nazis banning and burning certain books, not all of which were just books, criticising them. It was often artistic works, things which they felt were subversive in some sense, and you get that in many repressive regimes, where people's artistic work is not allowed to express the way they feel about something. Stalinist Russia, for instance, art there, literature, are not able to express its views, because people see it as dangerous, as provocative.
Well, yeah, the threat always comes from scholars. With like any dictatorship, and they know that.
But not just scholars writing, scholarly text criticisms, but also people expressing themselves through poetry, through creativity.
Well, yeah,
things which are not direct.
Dangerous. Yeah.
They can be abstract, and yet they can still be subversive.
Yeah, but I think if it's done in a way that isn't just like a lunatic, they get away with it. Like a nice poem, some people would read it in a different light. I might read it and go, I don't even know what they're going on about there. So, as long as it's done clever, get away with it, don't they? So it makes the artist better.
But that's not often not the case, that's what I'm saying. Often, in these regimes, these things are repressed.
No, but there's always, like, code words and that you can use and they can't have you on it.
Such as?
I don't know. I'm not into that sort of work.
Right,
Well,
so you've just made a statement there, but it's not backed up with any actual information.
Well, there was a good point there. No, there was a very good point there. The McCarthy era, where he was threatened by communism infiltrating the country, and he thought that entertainers might be a part of that, the conspiracy. It was a hotbed, and he made everyone come forward, writers, actors, say they're not a communist, and some people were out in the cold, and so people had to be a bit clever, like was it Arthur Miller, The Crucible? It's a metaphor. It's about witch hunts, but it's about the McCarthyism. So yes, good point. You can put coded messages
CB
into
radio
art.
was the same thing.
Go on.
Well, it's all the codes. As long as you've got codes.
Okay, well, I thought you had I mean, I was trying to make your point sort of more valid than it obviously
No,
was.
but if you need to refer to CB radio, that's the obvious.
Well, that's what I can relate to.
Sure.
Yeah, we've done this. There's no point in CB radio. They go. How many candles are you burning? What? How old are you? 8. Okay, yeah. I mean, there's no point to those codes at all. You know.
So this is in no way relatable to The Crucible. Why would you be talking about one of the most respected plays of the 20th century, and suddenly this in your head reminds you of CB radio?
Just having this code going on that only certain people know how to break.
Everyone knew it.
No, it's
pointless.
Not back then. They didn't.
Pointless. I remember we were shown the cartoon version of Animal Farm when we were about like 15, 16, and we were discussing it afterwards about communism versus the poor proletariat and all this, and this bloke went, "You lot make me sick. It was just a nice film about some animals." Brilliant.
Yeah. What's your take on that, Carl? No, go on. What's your point? Because you can see the irony there, can't you?
I haven't seen it.
No.
If you want to do a serious point, don't use animals.
No? Well, I disagree with you there, because we're going to get onto literature later, and I think my favourite is probably Charles Dickens, and I think the greatest story ever told is A Christmas Carol, and there's only one way that could ever be improved, and that is a Muppet Christmas Carol.
That's absolutely right, yeah.
So, and I think that you could, and I think people could take a lesson from that and maybe do other films with the Muppets. A Muppet Schindler's List.
Yeah.
I mean, you could make it so moving, couldn't you?
Schindler's List in space. Yeah. Well, I think it would certainly help bring that story to a wider audience.
I think so. Yeah.
A lot of people who, like Carl, who were put off perhaps by the depressing black and white of it, they would suddenly see the Muppets singing and dancing.
Miss Piggy's Choice.
Miss Piggy's Choice, yeah.
Well, have we talked about that?
What?
About things like that in art as well. Do you think that bringing something so serious to the masses, like films do, things like the Holocaust, and like Sophie's Choice, where she has to choose which child lives and dies.
Why does she have to pick?
Well, because the Nazis were horrible, nasty, evil people.
And which one did she pick?
I don't think that's the point. I don't think that's the point.
I love the idea that
this is not a betting game.
No, but I imagine this is like Deal No Deal. It's kind of you're down to the last two. Which one you're going to go for?
Oh God! But why did you ask which one did she choose? Because even if he'd said the names Robert and Alison, what difference would it make? You don't know the story. Why is it?
Because then I'd ask more. Then if you said Alison, I'd go, what was it with Alison? What did she have over Robert? That's what films are meant to do. You question it. Whenever I watch a film with Suzanne, I always say at the end, what was going on there?
That's because you're an idiot. Christ! That's because you've just watched Muppet Christmas Carol and you can't understand why a frog's able to talk.
I'm all for films with a good storyline.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's a perfect point. What extraordinary point.
Guys, he's gonna follow this up, mate. He's gonna follow
He's got
this up.
something there. He's got
Come
something
on,
here.
Carl, go on then. What's your
No.
take on films?
Films are really good. You can get lost in them.
Right.
And
You like one with a good story?
I mean, whenever anyone asks, it's always the same. It's Elephant Man. It's Kez. Mission Impossible 2.
Mission Impossible 2. These are what you consider great works
No, I'm
of
just
film
saying
art.
these are ones that I've enjoyed recently. There's so many films that I haven't seen, yet you always say, "Oh, have you seen so and so?" You
What,
love
Mission
it.
Impossible 1?
And there's good news for you. 3's out.
That's true. One of the most striking art exhibitions that I ever attended, Carl, was an exhibition of outsider art. Something I'm sure you're very familiar with. Outsider art, of course, is work that is made by people who are often institutionalised for mental health problems, or they are just incredibly, the people who aren't in any way part of the art establishment.
Well, right up to psychopathic murderers, clinically insane mass murderers would count as outsider art. I went to an outsider art exhibition in New York. It was incredible, and I bought a painting of this guy. He's a chronic schizophrenic, and he paints in tar, like road tar that he gets from roads, and he paints in that on wood he finds in sort of skips, and it's incredible because it's sort of like scratched in. And it's amazing. And there's this thing of Jesus being helped down off the cross, and you have to study it, but it's there, and it's quite incredible that it's just scratched in this wood by tar. And there's loads of things that I was walking round. Admittedly, I was walking around there going mental, and James was going, "You've got to stop saying that," because of course some of the people are mental. There was one bloke who done a sculpture of a skull, right? And underneath, it was like a little head with his teeth. Underneath, he'd put a sign that said "real teeth." Where did he get the real teeth from?
What I think is interesting about that is how much therapy it provides for these often mentally unstable people, which is another important value of art, of course. People's self-expression, people being able to give a little piece of themselves through their work. Do you not see any value in that? How do you express yourself?
Whistle.
You whistle.
Yeah, I found over Christmas I whistled a lot more than I usually do, and I think that was just freedom.
What do you mean freedom?
Right,
freedom.
expand on this point if you would.
Well, that's what art is, isn't it? It's you being free of all the world's heaviness on your shoulders.
See, that's a great quote, that. That's great, that. For art is freedom. I love that, because I think you've really hit on something there.
Would you include the free of all the world's heaviness?
Well, I know what you meant. I know what you meant there.
Would you include that one in it?
I mean, I would include the world's heaviness in my freedom. Some artists are attracted to the dark side, the heaviness of the world.
But I just want to return to you whistling as your artistic expression of freedom. I mean, why did you find yourself whistling more?
That's what was weird.
So just take us through a typical day. When would the whistling begin?
So this was that you spent Christmas down in Kent with Suzanne and her parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could I suggest something? Your freedom was thinking, I'm in my own place now. I'm going to annoy them.
Well, it was mainly it's when we were playing Scrabble, and they were taking ages to have their go, and couldn't have the radio on because the boiler affects the radio. It works. It just gives something off every time it kicks in. The radio goes all staticky.
Right.
So I just was sort of supplying the soundtrack.
I think you've really hit on something there.
Would you include the free of all the world's heaviness?
Well, I know what you meant. I know what you meant there.
Would you include that one in it?
I mean, I would include the world's heaviness in my freedom. Some artists are attracted to the dark side, the heaviness of the world.
But I just want to return to you whistling as your artistic expression of freedom. I mean, why did you find yourself whistling more?
That's what was weird.
So, just
few
take us
days off.
through a typical
See,
day. When would the whistling begin?
So this was you spent Christmas down in Kent with Suzanne and her parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could I suggest something? Your freedom was thinking, I'm in my own place now. I'm going to annoy them.
Well, it was mainly it's when we were playing Scrabble, and they were taking ages to have their go, and couldn't have the radio on because the boiler affects the radio.
You got boiler problems down in Kent as well?
It works. It just gives something off every time it kicks in. The radio goes all staticky.
Right.
So I just was sort of supplying the soundtrack.
And what kind of things would you be whistling?
It was like I just sort of did a whistle medley. It was going from one thing to another.
A Wedley.
And a man was impressed. She was like, "Oh, you can whistle, can't you?" I was going, "Yeah." And then she was saying, "How loud can you go?" I was just doing all different levels.
Sorry, this sounds like a scene from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. The boiler's setting off the radio. I can whistle. Oh, you're good whistling, aren't you? Oh, yes, Scrabble. Talk about outsider art.
I love the fact that Carl's life is like living in a home when you're in your 80s.
Yeah.
But you felt that this was your way of expressing yourself.
I just found it odd because I don't whistle that much. I think just because I think I'm fed up most of the time when I'm in London, and you don't whistle when you're fed up, do you? Whistling's a happy thing. You never get an angry man suddenly breaking into a
Well,
whistle.
the people who aren't whistling are usually pissed off. But yeah, the bloke who's whistling, it's like, it's the least. He's the least annoyed person in the room when someone's whistling. Same as holding a drill. The only person that noise doesn't annoy is the bloke who's drilling. Everyone else wants to bunch his face in. Same with whistling. Whistling, there's no point in whistling.
No, there is.
No, there's not. The only point to whistling is in a bloke's changing room. Everyone's whistling, going, "I'm not looking at your cock." If I'm whistling, I can't be looking at your cock. Anything else? There's no calling a dog. Maybe calling a dog
It changes the atmosphere.
Yeah, it annoys everyone else.
Don't know. I mean, our window cleaner was known as like, that's how you knew he was there. He always whistled. And in the end, he fell off his ladder, broke his front teeth.
Oh.
Retired.
What, because he couldn't whistle?
That was it. It was like,
Well, yeah, he
can't
whistles
whistle
all the time.
Can't whistle, can't clean windows. It's a bit tragic.
Could he take along a whistle? Just pop that in his mouth.
Yeah, I suppose he could have done. He didn't think of that.
What about a flute? Or a recorder? Not London's burning again. Fucking clean the windows and then fuck off.
He didn't really think this through, did he? He retired at the age of 28. And his whole family were bankrupt.
With no teeth.
Yeah.
And just a bucket and a squeegee.
Why aren't you working, Dad? Because I can't whistle.
I can't whistle anymore. And if the day you give up whistling is the day I give up window cleaning.
So you never whistle?
No.
I can't really whistle very well. No.
I don't whistle, but I can whistle better than that.
What, you did this for hours on end while playing Scrabble?
About 2 hours.
2 hours?
Hell.
Put my word down.
And
then...
sorry, can we just hear that again? Can we hear it?
So you were whistling after you had your go as well?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, Carl.
But hang on, let's just hear a bit. That is Carl's self-expression. That is his artistic self-expression right there.
A name. No tune, no nothing.
There's mental patients who have smeared canvases with shit who have expressed more than you have in that.
Yeah, but it's not about other people. I'm not there to please other people.
Right. You're there to annoy them.
What was the best word you came up with in Scrabble?
Don't knock me at Scrabble, because I do alright. What's weird is, when I play Scrabble, my brain can come up with words that I don't normally say.
Okay, this isn't... No, I'm intrigued here. Your brain can come up with words you wouldn't normally say.
Just words that I'd never drop into a sentence.
Tree, cat.
Go on.
Squirm. That's using a Q. It's worth 10, Matt. It's not bad, is it? Now, I'd never say that.
I've never heard you... I don't think I've ever heard you say squirm, no. I don't think you're right, Carl. I've never heard you say squirm.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is weird.
And yet your brain popped that one out?
And then, yeah, when it wasn't I go, just... Anyway, so that's sort of doing art for yourself as opposed for other people.
I don't think you can count what you just did then as art. Hobby maybe, craft, pastime. I don't think you can count that as art. I'm not being funny. I'm being a bit snobby here, but I think there's a difference between Beethoven and Squirm. There's a cue in that.
No, classical music. I wish I was more educated on classical music. That which I've heard, I've adored. I genuinely find it challenging because it is so spectacular. It is so of another place. Where do you sit with classical music?
It's good for background, I think.
Right.
See, you know me, I like a song with a story, and there's nothing going on in them. That's
Now the problem with that is, how many times can you hear the same story?
quite a lot. How many times can you watch the same film? Same thing, except it's shorter than watching a film.
Yeah, but the film goes into the story with more depth than a 3-minute song.
Yeah, but there's also, do you know, like when you watch, what's an example? Say, I can't think of a film.
Yeah, there's not many.
No, but a moment in a film that it doesn't matter how many times you watch it, you go, I enjoyed that bit.
Godfather swings to
Well,
mind.
say, no, over Christmas on the buses was on the movie.
Oh, Jesus.
You went with The Godfather, you went with On the Buses. I mean, Brando, Varney, I don't know which is better.
It was the bit where, like, the toilet blows up after chucking a fag in. That's had paint in it.
Right, sorry,
I've seen
that's in All the Buses, that's not in The Godfather. I can't remember that. Maybe that's Godfather 2.
Well, the thing is, I enjoyed that bit and I knew it was coming. It's like, oh, I'll just watch this before I nip out and put the kettle on. Let's just see this.
How
bit.
many times have you seen the On the Buses film?
Probably about 4 or 5 times.
Sure, why not?
But all I'm saying is, music is there to sing over.
No, it's not!
Music is there to sing over.
That's a ridiculous thing to say. Music does something to me. I don't know what it is. I don't know why a chord can say something to you. I don't know, mate. Gives you that feeling. I'm in awe of it. I'm in awe of musicians.
Yeah.
My favourite piece of music is a thing by Vaughan Williams. It's 5 variants of Dives and Lazarus, right? And there's a bit there where it hits this chord, and I can't listen to it when I'm away from home because I well up. It reminds me of everything. England, just it does something to me, and it does it on a level that I can't sort of quite understand. It's just immaculate.
I just don't think you can beat a decent vocal on top of that.
Oh, that's amazing!
My mum's got a CD of Roger Whittaker, right?
Right, whistling again.
Now, he whistles Jealous Guy. Now, the thing is, I can't listen to that and whistle along. I end up singing Jealous Guy on top of it.
So, singing trumps whistling?
Yeah, when someone else is doing the whistling.
Okay.
I like whistling, but if someone else has did that first...
Yeah. So if Roger was singing Jealous Guy, you'd be
I'd probably whistling it. To make the classics live on, I'm surprised someone hasn't gone, I can add to this, and dub on a bit of vocal.
So you would have classical music with lyrics?
Just for people
Beethoven's
who want
Fifth, Beethoven's Fifth. That would be better to you, that would...
But what are you meant to do with it? What do you do when you've got that on? Then do you whistle along? Or
No,
do
I
you
don't whistle along.
Hum?
I let it. Oh,
do you
Karl,
whistle along?
I just don't know what to say.
Why are you obliged to whistle? That's the only way you can enjoy music, if you can whistle along.
Well, that's the same with anything. A good song, you join in, don't you? It's like, oh, I like this one. Yeah.
No.
So by that token, YMCA is one of the greatest of all tunes.
I mean, it's not one of my favourites, but you can't knock it. It certainly gets the crowd up. I did DJing, and
why do you care about the crowd?
Popular.
Who are this crowd?
Well, I'm just saying.
Who are this crowd that you have to live in your head with? Fuck the crowd. Most of them are idiots.
Although, admittedly, if I was doing a wedding DJing set, I probably would do YMCA over Vaughan Williams.
And why is that? Because it's happier-go-lucky. It's done in 3 minutes. Classical music goes on for ages. It
That's a
fades
good
out,
point.
Who's got
fades
time?
out, it comes back in again. Well,
It's a good point.
it's all over the shop.
Are
Yeah.
you going or are you staying?
It's over time, and I'm not saying we should get rid of it, and I might grow into it, because I think that's music for older people.
Well,
You're an idiot.
I think Mozart would disagree, I think he did his first symphony when he was 5 or 6. Probably playing piano and writing music before you could read.
When did the piano come out when he was a kid?
What do you mean?
If it was trendy to have a piano when he was a kid, it's like how kids now, they're messing about on Google at the age of 2 because the laptop is new. It's new to us. To them, it's like, oh, it's Google, isn't it?
What's your point?
Because he was born at the right time.
Beethoven.
Yeah, he was born...
Mozart. So you're saying that all 3-year-olds around the time of Mozart were brilliant?
There would have been quite a lot of them. Mozart, Beethoven, all that. They're all... Handel. They're all around the same time, aren't they?
Just guessing. Wild stabs in the dark. Just names he's heard. Just names he's heard. So when Ricky was young, when I presume Rolf Harris's stylophone came out, everyone was composing on the stylophone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all what you're brought up with, isn't it? Nothing's hard if you're given it when you're a kid. Nothing's difficult. It can be taught all sorts. I haven't got room for a piano. It's too big for a pastime. A hobby shouldn't take up a whole corner of a room.
It's so limited, isn't it? His scope, his imagination.
Yeah. But a piano, the idea that a piano in a house would be a frustration and annoyance.
Music.
That you could play
harmony.
But I'd worry about annoying other people with it as well.
You don't. You whistle when you're playing Scrabble. You don't worry about annoying people at all. I'm sure people would rather have gentle piano music in the background than squirm. Squirm. So one of the earliest and most celebrated art forms that's, along with painting and music still going today, is the play. And of course, the most famous and celebrated exponent of that is our very own William Shakespeare. Some say maybe the greatest literary genius in history. I'm not a fan.
Right.
And I'll tell you why I'm not a fan. One reason and one reason only.
Sure.
Nothing to do with the structure, his themes, fantastic. The pun.
Right.
Oh, I can't stand the pun.
Yeah, but I mean, although Shakespeare did include a few puns in his work, I don't think you could...
No, I suppose it's the people that have taken on the pun. It just reminds me of a bloke in a beard and a pipe at a party doing puns. And it's things like Shakespeare, things like, take their maidenheads. And you have to look at your Brody's notes to go, okay, cut off their heads and take their virginity. Oh, brilliant. You can't, it's like you can't explain a joke in retrospect. You don't laugh if you then explain to you.
I'm going to have to take issue with the idea that Shakespeare was not a truly great master of our language.
I think he was. He added to the language. He invented words, or at least he stole words and changed them a bit. He took them from other languages, which is totally valid. And he made up loads of sayings that are still around today. And there's a poetry in that, inventing new. Actually, Karl, you like sayings, don't you? Got a list here of some of the sayings and phrases that Shakespeare made up. Really. In a pickle was his.
Yeah.
And we know what in a pickle means.
Yeah, we know what it means. It's a saying I'd never use. Because when you're in a pickle, it's not something that you would say.
No, if you're being if you're captured and you're being tortured for information,
yeah,
you wouldn't, and you get access to a phone, you wouldn't go, MI5, I'm in a pickle. You'd be screaming, going, he's taking my teeth out.
Much as I love Shakespeare, is when that play was first staged and someone said during the play, "Ooh, I'm in a pickle," did the audience understand, or were they baffled?
Or was it like watching Ken Dodd when he goes, "Young bunctious"?
Exactly.
Oh, totally hilarious.
Yeah.
So Shakespeare is about as good as Ken Dodd.
That's what we appear to have established. While you've been talking about that, I just was looking on the computer at the Pun of the Day website, because I feel I take much of what you say about puns and agree with it. There's a couple that you might like. There was a sign on the lawn at a drug rehab centre that said, "Keep off the grass."
Okay, now if the pun is the lowest form of wit, and let's face it, sarcasm isn't, sarcasm is up there compared to the pun, then the drug pun, I think, is one of the lowest of the low. Oh, people who congratulate themselves on getting drug references. Keep off the grass, will you? Grass, get it? Grass. You're smoking the grass. Yeah.
Show me a piano falling down a mine shaft, and I'll show you a flat minor.
Oh, God. Okay, good. Okay.
Do you get that?
Well, these are... I mean, that sums up puns, isn't it? It's things that kids get in a cracker. I think pun should be short for punch him in the mouth.
Idioms are better.
Go on, then. What's an idiom? Is that a new word you made up?
No,
As in Karl Pilkington's a complete idiom.
I found out what it was because I thought, oh, I like them. What are they?
Right.
And it's like little sayings.
Yeah, that's right.
That sum stuff up.
Go on, give us an example of your favourite.
Oh, can I just say one? Talking about sayings, Carl was getting fed up with something. He was fed up with not getting replies from something. He's having a hard time, And I went, oh, the worm has turned. He went, what? I went, the worm has turned. You've
Stupid saying, isn't it?
No, okay. Tell him why you think that's a stupid saying.
Because how do you know when a worm's turned? Of all the creatures that you could flip over and know it's turned, why pick a worm? It's the worst thing they could have picked to express something turning.
But you're taking turning literally. It means changing, doesn't it? Changing your attitude, a new broom, turning over a new leaf.
Yeah, but
things are going to be different now, and I'm sick of it.
Chameleon.
No, but
chameleon is a brilliant thing to use for something to change. Chuck that in the sentence. There's nothing that you can link a worm to human life to. You're talking about something it's blind, isn't it? It's blind, it's deaf,
gay.
It's got no features.
Why is he having such a go at a worm?
Just because it's a weird thing to use. Something that its arse does more than its head.
That could be said of you, Carl, to be fair.
We've talked about what art is, we've talked about painting, sculpture, we've talked about music briefly, we've talked about whistling over music to make it better. Poetry. A completely different type of art form there. Carl, what's your thoughts on poetry?
I've never really been a fan of it.
There's a surprise.
I think it's sort of it's all right for the person who's doing it. You say that whistling is just for the whistler, but I think poetry's more like that because sometimes you read it and you're thinking, what's he going on about? It's always a bit, I don't know, it's sold in a bad light. It's a bit sort of bit gay, isn't it?
Right.
I mean, it depends what sort you're talking about, because maybe there's poetry out there that I haven't heard.
There's some poetry gayer than others.
Yeah.
War poetry can't be gay, can it? That was people.
I haven't heard. Go on.
People fighting in the trenches, and that can't be gay. They weren't gay. They were writing to their sweetheart. I don't know his name. It might have been a bloke. I don't know. But
so was it a sort of a, what sort of poem was it? Was it sort of a limerick, sort of a?
No, it was. Well, there's famous ones, Wilfred Owen and Siegfried Sassoon, and they're very moving. They're about, what usually happens is that they talk about why are we here. This is, we've been sold a lie here, and they really started seeing war in a different light from their point of view in the trenches. Famously, some of them died soon after the,
But I prefer a proper letter. No sort of crypticness. That's the problem with poems.
Okay, so you'd have been disappointed to get Dulce et Decorum Est through the post, would you? You'd have just said, what are you trying to say, mate? What's the weather like? When you're coming home? Did you get my socks?
Well, yeah, sometimes life is a bit like that, and it's like, say what you mean.
Right. Well, then you have just wiped all art off the face of the earth if you literally just say what you mean.
No, I'm just saying in a letter. Say if I was a woman and my fella was fighting in a war.
Right. What's your fella's name?
Harry.
Okay, so Harry. Oh, let me get this right. So when were you married?
About 1935.
1935. So you've been married about 4 years.
Yeah.
Harry, why don't you go off? Oh, you're a woman, aren't you?
Yeah.
You don't look like. Okay. So what did you see in Harry? Why did you like Harry? Was he?
He just was like funny.
Butch.
He wasn't that butch, but that didn't matter back then, did it? In the war.
No, and
he took everyone.
But what did you say when Harry said to you?
Well, I thought it was coming because a lot of our friends ended up having.
Did you just hug him and say "Don't go" or something?
No point, because that would have just made it tough for him. So, what's the point? Just go with it.
But if he had
cried after he went.
You cried after he went.
That's what you do, innit? You wouldn't do it in front of him. He's got to go to battle.
Okay, so your man goes off to battle.
Right. Then I get a letter from the colonel saying, "Oh, bit of bad news, Harry's dead." Now I get a letter in the post.
He said what he meant, didn't he? In the
Well, yeah, and they would do, wouldn't they? They wouldn't fanny around saying, "Oh, he was on the warpath and the cloud went dark." I go, "What? Just tell me what happened. I don't want a weather forecast."
He got shot at the arse and the bullet came out his head.
Right. Now, the Colonel, he would just tell me the basics. Now, because he sent his by
Telegram.
they sent a telegram. The letter I get from Harry has been stamped, so I get it late.
Oh, okay.
So I get a letter from Harry after he's died.
Yeah. Right, and you know he's dead.
I know he's dead, so I get this letter with his handwriting on. I'm devastated because I was just getting over his death.
Yeah.
It's all brought back to me when this letter drops through the post.
Well, yeah, 3 days and you're pretty much over it.
It's Harry's handwriting.
Yeah.
Oh, God, what's this?
What's
now
he
I
written?
open it.
Yeah.
And instead of saying, things are bad here, socks are damp, you know, everything's grim, it's cold, I'm sick of it, there's a poem. It wouldn't feel like it was from Harry.
Well,
because it's not in his words. Poems are never in the person's words.
But didn't you know Harry was a poet when you married him and made love to him that
I
night?
only picked it up because other people were doing it. Something to do in the trenches.
But when he carried you over the threshold, Carl, and he laid you down and gently kissed you, didn't he say any? Didn't he ever?
He must have whispered some sweet nothings into your hysterical red head.
He wasn't like that. Straight to the point. He was like, "Get your knickers off."
That's one of the weirdest fucking scenarios I've ever heard. Why was the telegram coming before the letter? Specific. It wasn't like Harry. The fuck's Harry? Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! There are a few things gayer than poetry, though. I want to throw one into the pot. The continental breakfast.
Oh.
The continental breakfast. That annoys me when I see it. Who orders that? If you've got the choice of eggs, beans, burger, chips, sausages,
bacon,
all that, you've paid for it already. If I was a waiter and someone said, "What do you want for breakfast, mate?" and the bloke went, "Oh, I just have a little bit of grapefruit juice and a croissant," I go, "Do you? Do you want some cum on that? Or you can go back to the hotel?"
Yeah.
So,
no, I'm with you there.
What else is gayer than poetry? I remember when I was at school once, right? The worst thing you could be growing up was gay.
Yeah.
In school, it was the worst thing. It was and I remember I was about 14, 15. I was talking to this bloke. I talk about him on my stand-up. David Beasley. He's the one that said if you get captured by cannibals, they show you pornographic pictures when you're in the pot, so you get an erection. And there's more meat to go around. So he was an idiot. He made Carl look smart.
Wow.
Really.
Wow.
He said, you know that thing that kids always do, what would you rather be, blind or deaf?
Yeah.
We did that, and we discussed that for a while, and he went, what would you rather be, blind or queer?
Mm.
And I went, well, I'd rather be gay, because...
Still got all your sights, yeah.
And he went, oh, would you? I went, well, yeah. Well, rather than be blind? I said, yeah. I said, also... if you were gay, you'd like being gay. He went, I wouldn't. I went, no, you would. I said, if you were gay, you would like being gay. He went, I wouldn't, Gervais. Sounds like you would. I went, well, if I was gay, I would like being gay. He went, well, I wouldn't. And he looked at me accusingly, and I went, no, nor would I, but gays would. Which made no sense at all.
Right, yeah.
Just the idea. But this is just like such a stonewall that I'd rather be anything than gay.
Yeah.
Carl, thoughts? Blind or gay?
This is about art, is it?
So there you have it. Our comprehensive and definitive guide to the arts. Next in this series is philosophy.
Well, I'm looking forward to that one enormously, Rick, because, of course, you have a honours degree from the University of London in philosophy.
Yes, but I predict that one will also be as big a load of bollocks as all the others we've done. Thank you.
just to remind you that you can still get the Ricky Gervais Guide to Medicine, the Ricky Gervais Guide to Natural History, and now, of course, the Ricky Gervais Guide to the Arts.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Hello, welcome to another podcast of the Ricky Gervais Show with me, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant.
Hello.
All right. And, of course, Karl Pilkington.
Right.
Rick, you'll be pleased to know we've already had some responses. You remember last week I mentioned that you can email us on podcast@rickygervais.com if you've got anything for Karl or you or I. And Simon and Mark have already emailed us in this link to something that was on the BBC News website. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but it's a remarkable story. Well, I'll give you the headline straight away, and you can draw your own conclusion. Lion mutilates 42 midgets in Cambodian ring fight. That's just the headline.
That's a hell of a headline. That makes me want to know more about the story.
Well, that's what
a headline should do.
I mean, I think we'd all read the news. We'd all take more interest in the news if they could open the BBC News at 6 o'clock every night. Bong. Lion mutilates 42 midgets in Cambodian ring fight. Bong. We'd definitely pay more attention. So this is the story. It's just extraordinary. Spectators cheered as entire Cambodian midget fighting league squared off against African lion.
Now, I didn't even know there was a Cambodian midget fighting league.
You're an ignoramus. Everyone, of course, has heard of the CMFL, which is genuinely what it's known as in Cambodia. Now, like you, I don't know who the Cambodian midget fighting league are normally fighting. I don't know what tournaments...
I assume it's each other.
Well, I assume each other.
It's midget fighting, then?
Yeah, well, let me just give you more information, and then we can dissect it afterwards. Tickets had been sold out 3 weeks before the much-anticipated fight. The fight was organised when an angry fan contested Yang Shamoni, president of the CMFL, claiming that one lion could defeat his entire league of 42 fighters.
So this bloke is going to the president and going, I reckon a lion could get all your midgets.
I reckon he could destroy all of your 42 midget fighters. Now, apparently, Shamoni, the president of the CMFL, he takes great pride in the league, and he's conveyed in a recent advertising campaign that his midgets will take on anything, man, beast, or machine. Now, I don't know what kind of machine, again, midgets are fighting.
But don't the midgets have a say in
this?
A
washing machine.
The midgets going, all right, keep it down. No, they won't fight anything. Well, we won't fight anything. We'll fight each other. We're sort of like equally matched.
No, you'll fight a beast or a machine.
No. I'll fight another midget. I will fight any midget. Is what. When I said I'll take on anything, I meant another midget.
Machines.
So this bloke goes, I reckon a lion could take on your midgets. He goes, rubbish.
Yes. And that is why an African lion was shipped in especially for the event, which took place a couple of Saturdays ago, in the city's Colosseum. I mean, they've got a Colosseum, Rick, which is already brilliant.
So hold on, this is sanctioned by the city?
Well, the Cambodian government allowed the fight to take place under the condition that they receive a 50% commission on each ticket sold, and that no cameras would be allowed in the arena. We'll take 50%, but for dignity's sake, there's no cameras. We don't want to make this into a
spectacle.
Yeah.
No. It's just lion versus midget, but
exactly. Well, 42. Never forget there was 42 midgets. Now this is the tragedy element, and this is why we shouldn't be laughing, because the fight was ended.
Don't tell me the lion gets hurt.
Well, the fight was ended, Rick, after only 12 minutes, after which 28 of the midget fighters were declared dead,
right?
While the other 14 suffered severe injuries, including broken bones, lost limbs, and they were basically unable to fight.
But the lion wasn't hurt?
It would have seemed that the lion was okay.
Oh, good. Because the lion had no choice in this.
No.
See, that's I love it when a human takes on a beast and comes unstuck. Because that lion was scared and defending itself. Those little midgets were loving it. They wanted to go in.
What do you mean they were loving it? You don't know that.
Well, why would they do it?
Well, what I find out... Well, I'm worried, you see. I don't know the ins and outs of this. I wonder if they were fighting against their will. I got the horrible feeling, because with all due respect to any midgets listening, they must be fairly easy to round up. You could probably corral some midgets fairly easily. You only need some regular full-size people, and it'd be easy to grab some midgets and take them away, whisk them away, put them in a cage.
No, because because they don't, because a lot of them stand on each other's shoulders and wear a long coat.
Sure,
and a hat, and you go, oh, that's not a midget.
No,
let him go.
Well, those ones are getting away with it. They're fine. They're wandering around, fine. Because who's voluntarily going to join the Cambodian Midget Fighting League?
But midgets who want a bit of action, who want to fight other midgets. They're allowed. They want to fight. They can't get in real boxing matches because the fellas are too big for them. But they can go, well, I'll tell you what, let's have our own little fighting league, right?
But if I was on the Cambodian Midget Fighting League, I'd be livid. I'd be thinking to myself, well, I can't believe I listened to my agent and he's put me up fighting a lion. I mean, I should have just taken Panto in Grimsby. I can't believe what I've done.
I can't believe it. But hold on, though.
I thought
are they all really midgets, or are they lumping in dwarves with them?
It's not specified, Rick, but
But that annoys me when people say, oh, look at these midgets, and I go, hold on, no, they're making up the numbers with a couple of dwarfs there. That's clearly only 39 midgets and 3 dwarfs.
Sure.
Well, that's amazing.
Karl, what are your thoughts instantly? I mean, you're bound to have a take on that.
Whose side am I meant to be on there?
What?
Well,
I'd be on the lion side. I'd never go to a bullfight, but I love it when I see a matador gored to death. Because, again, the bull doesn't want to get in that ring and fight a bloke with swords, okay? So I love it. I think it's disgusting. And when someone says a midget versus lion, I'm thinking, well, it's okay if the lion wins, to be honest, because they haven't got a choice. So, and I hate it when people go, oh, I went to a bullfight when I was in Spain, but it's the tradition, isn't it? Oh, well, there's loads of traditions that we don't adhere to anymore. So I say it shouldn't have happened, of course, but if it happens, I'm glad the lion isn't hurt.
See, what's annoying me is I've sent money to Cambodia because apparently they're hungry and haven't got any energy. So what's going on?
Well, it's much easier to fill up a midget than it is a regular Cambodian. You know, they're
I just
happy
feel
on
like
a Mars bar.
I'm being cheated a bit.
You were conned before with a charity, weren't you?
Well, a few times, yeah.
What about the old lady? What was that?
I got stopped, and it's like they sort of drag you in by saying, "Have you got a gran?" And I said, "No, they died," and that. It's like, "Oh, did they die of the cold?" No, ill. What have you? Just old age. He said, "Well, what happens with a lot of people's grans is they die in the cold, right?" So I was like, "Oh, that's bad, isn't it?" Anyway, so she's chatting and she's showing me pictures of these old women who look cold, right? Saying, "Look at her, that's Edna. You know, she's got no family. She can't pay the bills and all that."
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Oh yeah." Anyway, it goes on for about 15 minutes, and you feel bad. You give them your bank details, right? And what happens is every couple of months you get a letter from Edna. Well, it's not from her, it's typed up and what have you. But there's a picture of Edna, right, and it's saying, "Oh, this December, Edna's going to be extra cold. It's cold outside, she can't afford to pay the heat and what have you."
Yeah.
Keep going, right, so you keep paying every month like £5, whatever. Get another letter, a few months later, right, Edna's sat there, she's got a tan.
What do you mean she's got a tan?
Well, when they said, she's cold, I thought they meant for the heating, not to send her on holiday for a month. She sat there with a tan. I'm not joking.
Are you sure it wasn't just a sort of a slight problem in the printing?
No, definitely.
Sure,
she looked well happy.
Sure, it wasn't liver failure.
This is a terrible thing to say, but when I see those people approaching now with the clipboards on the street, I always get my mobile phone out and pretend to have a conversation.
I've done that one.
The number of fake conversations I've had walking past them now.
Well, I felt sorry for them, right? Because I thought, to be fair, I've got about 10 standing orders where I felt sorry for them in court. Right? I thought they're doing a good deed. The least I can do. I find out they're on about £8 an hour.
Are they?
Yeah.
They're not just doing it out of the kindness of their hearts.
Well, I don't want to
I thought they were
them.
volunteers. I thought that was at least why I should feel guilty. If they're getting paid to do it.
I don't know. I could be wrong.
I think they do.
What?
I've heard they get paid and that.
Well, if someone knows, maybe email us.
Podcast at rickygervais.com is how you can get in touch with us. If you know if these guys are getting fleecing us twice.
I heard something. Carl thinks that. You think they're not.
I don't know anything, but anything that will allow me.
But
to
let's find out, because I don't want to slag them off, because they're obviously doing a good thing. So we'll find this out. It's, this is an educational show.
I tell you what, though, right? Because we've talked about homeless people before and that, and I walked past one the other day. He's always cheerful, right? But don't you think, right? If you had a company, it's worth taking them on, because they never have a lie in.
Brilliant.
I'm finding it quite exhausting now, because a lot of the homeless that I've encountered recently, they're not even after my money. They're just looking for conversation. While I was walking along the other day, and I don't know what you're supposed to say to this, we were both walking, happened to be both passing a Chinese restaurant. He glanced in, he looked back around at me, he went, "Woman in there with 3 phones, 3 mobile phones. Why does she need 3 mobile phones?" Got nothing to say to that. Got no opinion. Got absolutely no opinion of it. And I was thinking, what's going to have, and that thing when you sort of suddenly you got across the road conveniently to just get out of it. And there's another mad woman who started going, she was walking past me, she went, "Do you want to come to my church?" I went, "No, I don't believe in God." She went, "Do you believe in God?" Oh, 20 minutes. conversation, 20 minutes. It was unbelievable. I got to a point where I was so angry with her, I was shouting at her from across the other side of the room. I was the one who sounded like a nutter, going, "There isn't a God!" But
You see, when does it become, like, bad to avoid people like that? Do you know what I mean? Because some people say you shouldn't, you know, that they're people like us who just had a bit of bad luck. And
Well, of course they are.
Yeah, I know, but I remember one on our estate, right? And she was a bit... What's the word that you can use? Because I don't want to offend anyone. But I'd say, but sort of mental homeless. Is that a term?
That's the official term.
I think that is the
new official term. It's mental homeless-itis.
Right, so she lived on the estate and what have you, and she aged...
How was she homeless if she lived on the estate?
Well, she sort of decided to stay around there because I think people on the estate spoke to her more than people who had money. Do you know what I mean?
Really? I was going to say, why would she choose an estate not to live in, as opposed to like a walled sort of lovely community?
Yeah.
Why not go to St John's Wood or?
Yeah, or I'd hang around in maybe, say, the Maze in Hampton Court.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Yeah. No one's expecting to see a homeless person as they're trying to find their way around.
Well,
imagine the cash you'd make during the summer.
The rich sort of Victorians used to keep sort of homeless in there as a little folly, and they used to pay them at the end if they stayed there for like 3 years.
What do you mean? Would they pay?
It was fashionable to have a little homeless little hobbit in your outhouse. Seriously.
And what did they have to do anything for their money? Run, dance,
no, they just had to
tigers?
be there. No, they had to be there when they brought around. They go, look, that's our little cat weasel fella
Right.
living in our folly.
Yeah.
And then they got money, you know, at the end of it. There's just like really rich sort of Victorians and stuff.
That's a great idea. They should definitely bring that back. Because, you see, I would give a lot more to shelter and those kind of charities if I could have a homeless guy come around and do my bidding. I could make him dance.
And they had a really long beard and rags.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I could just make them do dances for me, or, you know...
And he was somewhat magical, possibly. That would go, riddle me dee, fiddle me do, what is my name and who are you?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then,
But anyway, so this mental
There's a little idea for shelter if anyone's listening.
Yeah. Mental homeless woman on the estate. And what she used to do, right, she acted quite normal, and she used to always push like a pram around with her, right? And everyone was like, she can't have a kid, can she? Right? And she was dead happy every day. She was up and down, walking up and down the road. Anyway, one day she sort of walked past, right? Turned round and looked in the pram. There was a bucket with a face on it.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Rick, we've had an email here from a bloke. I think you're going to respect him, because I think you can tell straight away from his name that he's the kind of guy you'd want to hang out with.
Go on.
I know how much you love fun people.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, and he's calling himself this, Paul the Party Animal Parker. He's emailed in. He's given himself that moniker.
Right, I assume they're in sort of like quote marks,
They're
are they?
in speech marks, yeah. Paul the Party Animal Parker.
And he's called himself that.
Yeah.
That I can't wait.
So when you picture him, what are you thinking?
Millhouse.
Right, okay.
I think he looks like Millhouse from The Simpsons.
Yeah. He's working in sort of an IT department, maybe?
Yeah,
for a
possibly.
large organisation?
Oh, I think he might still be at school.
Okay, right, yeah.
Yeah,
I think. And this is the vital question. Do you believe him to be a party animal?
I believe him to be a party animal is as much as a man with a long scarf that his mum knitted him to look like Doctor Who can be a party animal, yes.
Do you think that when people are organising parties at his school, they're thinking the first person they got to get on the list and make sure he's guaranteed
You've got to take Paul the party animal. Because I bet he's got millions of affectations. I bet he wants to be known as the one that carries around a biscuit tin.
Yeah.
You know, he's got the scarf.
He's the guy who only ever wears bowling shoes. It's his thing. It's his thing. He's a little bit kooky, it's his thing. But thank you very much indeed for your contribution. And it is fairly interesting what he sent in. He's found this on the web. I don't know why he's felt an affinity with this particular inventor. But anyway, there's a Serbian man, who has invented a machine for women. And he's appealing to Western women to test his device. He's from a town in, as I say, in Serbia. I guess that's right. Is that right?
Well, I don't know. What does it say?
Well, it says a Serbian man, but is it called Serbia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was all the Croatia-Serbia thing?
Well, it doesn't matter now, does it?
Okay. It doesn't matter now. It does to them. Otherwise they fought for nothing. What the hell do we know about world events? I mean, how long did that go on for? Months,
I don't know.
wasn't it?
If they're inventing new countries, they can't expect me to keep up with current trends, can we?
Anyway, this Serbian man has invented a machine for women, and he can't find any Serbian women to try it out, so he's looking now for Western women. He's taken out a patent on the ultimate machine. It runs on a 390-volt electric engine, simulated, and has a 7.5-inch artificial. He said, my machine has an artificial that can make up to 180 moves in a minute. Now, I don't even know what that means. 180 moves? What? I mean, there's only really...
Well, in and out, I
in
imagine.
And out is largely the function. Unless I've been doing it
what
wrong.
He's done. What he's done is he's put a dildo on a Black & Decker.
A man can only manage the intensity of movement for about 5 seconds normally, but this machine can do it for as long as the woman wants. But anyway, so he's looking for a woman who will test this out. But what I love, as soon as I read this, I was thinking, just imagining there going, oh, thanks for coming in, yeah, okay. So there's, what's going to happen is it's going to pop out from here, and it's going to, I'm going to stand behind the machine. I've got to stand behind here, there's a lot of dials and stuff, I don't want to bore you with.
Well, why do you have to stand behind it?
I can't, it's technical stuff, but I got to be behind the machine.
But there's no on the robot at the moment, it's just a hole.
Don't worry, what will happen is, I'll switch the machine on, I'll go behind, and then will appear.
Will it be like a metal look?
Will be a robot, but it will seem like it's a regular fleshy.
So you're gonna so you're gonna go behind this robot,
go behind the machine,
disappear,
yep,
and then a fleshy looking
that will appear
through the hole
when I switch the machine on.
Okay, and that'll be the real robotic piece.
But you won't see me for the duration of your.
So you've made this sort of like robotic penis look really realistic.
It's really realistic. You will not be able to tell the difference between, say, the robot one and mine, for instance.
I don't want to see yours.
No, there's absolutely not.
Because I've not come around here to the person.
I know, you've come around to test the machine.
Yeah,
and that is exactly what you're going to get.
Okay,
a use of mechanical action. But what is the idea that on the front, maybe he's painted a picture of a robot's face.
Yeah.
And then when the machine begins, rather like in one of those horror houses, like a kind of mansion in a spooky film, the eyes of the painting, they'll move.
And the real
eyes will appear, just staring out. But I don't think I can machine unless you're actually in the room, just in case anything goes wrong. No. Don't worry, I'll be behind the machine, it'll all be fine. It'll be safe, not a problem.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, Paul the Party Animal Parker sent that in, and knowing him, there'll be plenty more coming like that in future weeks.
Carl, what do you think about that? The
machines and that.
Yeah.
Well, they've always been sort of. I mean, to a lot of people, this is important, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Not to you.
Well, it serves a purpose.
What purpose?
No.
Because you don't want to have kids, so what purpose?
Just
something to do in the evening.
Something to do, innit?
When the telly's broke.
But for years, like they've found stuff, haven't they? Machines from like Roman times to that setup.
No machines in Roman times.
Like that though, the old sort of knob on a stick machine thing.
The old Roman knob on a stick. I'm sorry, but I watch Time Team every week, and Tony Robinson has never done an old knob on a stick machine.
I just think of Julius Caesar sitting down and go, okay, aqueduct, we love that. Yeah. Thanks for that. Straight roads, good idea. We can see the enemy coming. Yeah. What have you got there?
Well, I'm glad you've asked.
Ploncticus. What have you got there? Wanklicus.
What I've got here is a Yieldy knob. And I've put that on the end of a stick.
Oh, a stick of phallus. Okay, well done, Wanklicus.
Yeah.
Well done. You are my new right-hand man, as they say.
No,
excellent.
But they do stuff like that. You've been in the London Museum and that, and they've got sort of stuff from years ago. They've got like these metal pants that they used to wear.
I don't know what that is.
Metal pants.
Yeah, sort of.
Is that a chastity belt? You mean? They used to make women wear them so that they could...
but they had them for blokes as well, though.
Metal pants for blokes?
Yeah,
why?
So he had little lots. So if he was away, he couldn't play away from home, and if he was away, she popped on a little.
No, I just think they sort of like metal pants.
What? Oh, I don't know what you mean. Metal pants.
Well, we'll have to look because I haven't got it in front of me. It's just something I remember seeing. Some metal pants that they used to wear.
But what are you saying, sexy metal pants?
That was not British Museum, that was Soho.
No, what I mean...
That was Old Compton Street, you were looking in the shop window.
They always had to be ready for, like, battle and that, but these were a little bit sexy, but protective at the same time.
I love that!
Right, I'll have to look into it.
I love the idea that that's all you remember from the British Museum.
So, Lancelot, are you ready to face the Black Knight? Yeah, what do you think of these? Huh?
What do you think of these?
Well, I don't really care, just, you know.
I just want to look good on the battlefield.
Well, they're both protective.
Will there be women watching, cheering us on?
Well, you're not going to fight like that, are you? What about your
I'm going to wear nothing except these sexy metal pants.
But what about your chest is exposed?
No, well, it's a good chest. I've been working out.
Yeah, I know, but what I mean is you want metal all
I've
over.
actually been lifting up the round table every week. I just work out, do that about 4 times a day.
But that machine, right? Why did it have to be a woman, or could they have got a little gay fella in?
I don't know.
Let me just check. It doesn't actually specify the small print here.
I love that. Why do you want to see a little gay fella be?
I don't want to see it. I'm just saying they're sort of more.
Why Carl? Why do you want?
I don't want to see it.
Why do you want to watch a gay man get buggered by a robot?
I wasn't the one typing in gay machines on the internet, finding stuff out about them.
It's not a gay
Steve was.
machine. You just made it into a gay machine.
Yeah, he wanted to pleasure women with this machine. You're saying, can I see a little gay fella get a robot ass? You're the one requesting that, Karl
I don't want
Pilkington.
that. I'm just saying that.
You're the one that want to see gay men with metal stuff up their anus.
No, what I'm saying is they're more up for a bit more experimentation than.
What are you saying? Why is that the case?
Why? Why'd you say that?
No, they're just butt plugs and that. I mean, what I'm saying is...
What, you can't just say butt plugs and that.
I'm just saying that I reckon they'd be up for it.
What do you know about butt plugs?
I don't know anything about them. I just remember seeing an advert for some once in a sex shop.
What are you doing?
No, I wasn't. I was just walking past. I was walking past the shop and that. And you sort of looking.
Why were you walking past the shop?
Just because I was on the way to work and that, and I passed one, and there was a little sort of one. It was open early, which I never understood. Right, it was about 8 o'clock in the morning. Right,
Who's rushing out for butt plugs that early in the morning?
Who needs them now? Right, but I
must get a bagel and some poppers on the way to work.
I walked past it, and it had like a little post-it note or postcard type thing, and it was like pop in now, buy an item, chuck in some free butt plugs. And I didn't know what they for. I'd never heard of them before. But all I'm saying is I've since found out what they do with them.
What
and
do
if
they
they do that with them, then give them a go on that.
I had another email here. This is they haven't given their name actually, but it's an interesting fact. I'm hoping it's true. America's first nudist organisation apparently was founded in 1929 by 3 men. Now, what intrigued me when I read that is the fact that it's clearly 3 blokes just trying to meet some nude women.
They're all 52 balding.
Exactly.
With little, sort of those gold-rimmed glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just wandering around, and it's all quite saggy down there, and they're just knocking on doors saying, we're just set up an organisation, it's perfectly above board, completely legitimate, it's a nudist organisation. You got any women in there that want to come and join us? Because we haven't got any female members at the moment. Got any women in there interested in, volleyball or trampoline?
I can't be doing with it, me.
You hate nudists, don't you?
Nudists. I don't understand what it's all about at the end of the day. And here's something, right? Do you know, like, when you're a bloke nudist, right? Do you ever get any who just have, like, a small knob?
I don't know, I don't understand the question.
What's that? What's your point?
Well, are there any blokes who are knocking about who just have a normal-sized knob, or maybe a bit smaller than normal, who are happy wandering about showing off what they haven't got, if you know what I mean?
I don't think nudists are just doing it because they're so proud of their knob.
No, but there's got to be a little bit of that in it, isn't there?
Why?
Say like Jonathan Ross, right? He's nipped to see you now and again and what have you.
He's what?
He sort of nipped in to see you now and again. He's always happy getting his knob out because he's known to have this big knob, right?
What do you mean he's known? Why is Jonathan Ross known to have this big knob?
No, he just talks about it a lot, doesn't he? He's always saying about, bet you'd like this, wouldn't you? And all
but that's like me. I'm known for being a great lover. I say it a lot. It's clearly not the case. What evidence have you got that he's got a big?
No, but the difference is he's happy to keep getting it out. It's different, sort of me walking about going, I've got a big one and all that, and then but no one ever sees it. But Jonathan sort of he's always getting it out, isn't he?
Have you seen him get it out before?
I saw. Well, he did get it out, but I wasn't looking.
What do you mean you weren't looking? How do you know it was out?
Just because he sort of was moving it about and that, and I could sort of see. No, I wasn't looking though. It was that sort of thing where you can see something moving about, but you're like, I'm not looking at it.
What, like an owl seeing a mouse?
What I mean, it doesn't matter. All I'm saying is.
So no, let's get back to this. You remembering vividly, Jonathan Ross?
No,
yes.
I don't mean that.
Why were you looking?
Looking though.
Well, it was clearly not meant to be looked at.
I'm just saying, most blokes who, nudists, they must be pretty confident in themselves to, getting it out. And I wasn't looking. It's just that. I mean, I looked once.
Okay. What was it like?
What? Sorry, you looked at Jonathan's once?
No, I was looking at another one.
What?
At the same time?
No.
Why are you looking at loads of men's penises?
Where are you
Because
going?
It's natural. That's what I'm saying.
What do you mean? This is Carl takes a sneaky look at men.com.
No, what I'm saying is natural.
Where was this happening? You were in a gym.
No.
A lot of guys are getting changed, and you were just checking out their
you're at your bedroom window with a pair of binoculars,
No.
and there was a little fella across the road getting changed.
I was at some night out once.
Go on.
So you were at heaven, and you were in the toilet.
It was some night out, and some people come running on the stage, right? Some music started coming on, and these 4 people ran out. It was 2 women.
So
you
you're at a gay strip club?
It wasn't gay in that. It was just a normal night out. Well, some sort of party night out.
Right.
These people come running on, right? You got 2 women. You got 2 blokes.
Right.
They whip their knickers off. The fellas whip their undies off.
At the same time?
Yeah, all at the same time.
Was it was it like a choreographed thing?
Like, what's it?
Chippendales.
No, what like Cheryl Baker was in it. It was that thing where they sort of, on Eurovision Song Contest.
Making your mind up.
Yeah.
When Bucks Fizz ripped off a larger skirt, conceding a smaller skirt. At no point did Bucks Fizz whip their knickers and pants off.
When you said Cheryl Baker was in it, I was thinking, what, didn't she used to host Record Breakers? I don't remember that on there. Tea Time on BBC One.
So that happened, and all I'm saying is, right, before I had a look at the woman's bits, right, I just had a little cheeky glance at the fellas.
Why?
Just checking it out, just seeing is everything normal down there.
Why weren't your eyes drawn instantly to the ladies' bits?
No, don't believe me. I had a look at that. All I'm saying.
But you went to the guys first.
I didn't know how long pants were going to be left off for.
So you didn't want to miss your opportunity, is what you're saying? You saw a window of opportunity to see some men's bits, and you thought, I better take it.
No,
because this may never happen again.
No.
So what happened? So there's 2 women, 2 men, right? I don't know what sort of event this is where you're looking at anyone get their knickers and pants off. I don't know why you're looking at all. So you go right. There's knickers and pants off. Right. Let's check out the knob and testicles first.
You're telling me you've never, like, when you've been in a gym or anything, you've not just sort of turned your head, had a look, and gone, all right, yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Been in a sorry, let's just get this question right. Have we ever been in a gym and just taken a sneaky glance at a man's genitals? Is that your question to us?
Right. For me, it's the same as when you see someone who's a bit odd, 2 heads or whatever.
Well, I'll be honest. If I was in a gym and a bloke came in with 2 heads, I'd look. I'd get a sneaky glance in the mirror. I'd go.
Sorry, but you'd look at his genitals or his 2 heads?
His 2 heads.
Or would you sneakily look at the heads and then think, I wonder if he's got 2 heads, and just.
I'd have to have a look there. If I'll tell you what, and now I admit it, if I'm ever in a gym and a naked man with 2 heads walks in, I probably will check out the genitals as well, just to make sure that he's got 2 of everything.
Can I tell you the thing that always freaks me out? I do sometimes go to the gym, and I live in North London, and the thing that always freaks me out is if there's an elderly man, often quite short, and I say this only so that you can picture something in your mind's eye, because I live in North London. There's quite a lot of old elderly Jewish gentlemen, wander around, and I'm always freaked out because there's at least 2 I'm aware of who've got very, very large faces, and I always find that really disturbing because sometimes you can't help but notice because it's like Godzilla coming through the changing room. Do you know what I mean? And it's swinging there, and it never seems right that he's an old guy, he's kind of a little overweight, quite short, and he's got a massive piece of action going on between his legs. And I always get, dare I say it, a little bit jealous. Because for a tall man, I feel I've been a little bit shortchanged.
Oh, wow.
So that, I do admit, that's the only instance where my eye has been naturally drawn to it.
Do you know what annoys me in gyms? Where people walk round happily naked all the time whistling. They get weighed naked, pop a towel on and take off 3 ounces.
How exact have those measurements got to be?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Pop a tower on. I mean, unless you're going on the space shuttle, I reckon you could give or take a couple of stone. Yeah, a couple
exactly.
of ounces.
Yeah. Absolutely right. Well, we've put that to bed.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Right, Carl.
Go on.
It's that time again. You better be ready.
Oh, chimpanzee that monkey news.
Right. Well, this week, what we covering is, do you know, like they say, monkeys are pretty close to humans.
Well, when you say monkeys, you mean apes, I assume, and when you say apes, you mean chimpanzees.
Monkeys and that.
Well, no, because they're different species. They're all primates.
They've done a lot of tests and that. Like I said, you know, we've talked about the one that went into space.
That was
We've
rubbish.
had ones that have worked in train stations.
No.
So the
Barbers, was there a barber one?
There was a barber one. He started off sweeping, didn't he? But he didn't immediately go in
Straight into, but he worked his way up. Yeah.
They do apprenticeship.
They do a lot of stuff.
I've seen the salon. He was probably the top student.
But the thing is, you know, I mean, in a way, this is linked to the one in the salon. He could cut hair, but he'd never be allowed to work on the till, right? But these tests that they've been doing now.
Why? Are they not trustworthy?
Well, they've had problems understanding money, right? But they've got one recently that they've been teaching about the value of money. And showing it that, you know, to get this money you've got to work hard, you've got to save your money, and when it's saved
No, it's all bollocks.
you can do what you want with that money.
Yeah, it wouldn't
But
happen.
at the end of the day, these monkeys aren't on that much money.
Yeah,
So-
and they wouldn't. You could never teach a monkey the value of money.
So the thing is, they've said to these monkeys, look, you know, there's your money.
They haven't said anything
You're
to the
only getting
monkeys.
so
They
much
have, Rick.
money,
Please listen to the news.
but
It's the news.
It's the news.
it's important that, you know, they know how to spend that money, right? It's basic rules, really. It's what you teach a human about money, and it's what you teach kids. The
So
value of
invest
money.
wisely.
Invest and all that.
Sorry, who's
they
teaching
got
these monkeys?
past,
So, Carl, stop.
Just some people and that.
But who? Where are these
The
monkeys?
monkey people.
But where are these monkeys? Where are these
I
monkeys
think
being?
it's in San Francisco.
Where are these monkeys though? What are they? Are they in a shop? What are they doing? Are they in homes? What are they doing?
Just
in
like,
the zoo?
Well, probably just in like some sort of science place where science people are checking out monkeys' brains and that and seeing how they work. But they're happy. They're not.
This is
cutting them and
different to the news at 10.
that. So listen.
Well, yeah, but you can't interrupt the newscasters for one thing, Rick. Please.
Sorry, go on.
So there's these monkeys, right? And they've given them some money, probably about £5. And they said, right, off you go. Go shopping. See who comes back with the best. Sort of, how much can you get? You know, like in
Ready, Steady, Cook.
where they say, there's a £5. Go and get some food. Anyway, some came back and they were like, you know, they hardly had anything. Right?
This is absolutely.
No, listen.
This is
bollocks. Listen.
But one of them, right, he was away longer, to be fair.
Yeah.
Right, I think he came back last. But they were really impressed because he sort of said, this is amazing that you've got all this. Can't believe it. Give us the receipt, right?
Oh, this is absolute
Right, forget it.
bollocks.
Forget it. No,
listen.
forget it.
No, this is absolute.
We want to hear the end.
No.
Look, hang on a minute, right? So they said, give us the receipt and that, and they looked at it, and it was all official, right? And they went through it all, and what they were really impressed by is the way that they always went for the sort of slightly older veg, where you get 2 lots for the price of one.
Right, you're absolute.
So, and it just goes to show,
This is
right,
absolute bollocks.
Well,
There's
forget it
no
then.
way.
If you're
There's
not
no
gonna-
way
forget
a
it.
chimp went
It's
shopping
not-
and knew what he was buying. It's
I don't know why you
absolute.
asked me then.
Well, it's absolute bollocks. Once again, you've made it up. You probably saw a headline on some sort of half-witted website, and you're talking.
Just to say, if you have any monkey news for Carl that you want to hear on one of these podcasts in future weeks, then you can email Carl, or indeed with anything, at podcast@rickygervais.com.
This podcast was hosted by Positive Internet.
Can I just ask, what does hosting mean when you, in that sense?
I don't know, but the guys at Positive Internet do, because they're experts in this field, and that's why I like them.
Well, thanks very much. Join us next time when we'll, I'm sure, waste another half hour of your lives. See ya.
Bye.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Hello, welcome to the third in this new series of the Ricky Gervais Show with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant,
Hello,
and Karl Pilkington.
Right.
We've had loads of emails. Thank you for those. Sorry we can't reply to them all personally, but keep them coming. Some interesting ones. There's one in particular here from a guy who says, "I see there is less swearing now you're charging for the podcast. Dumbing down already? ?
Yeah.
Well, interesting.
I don't know how that's dumbing down.
Well, no, not swearing. That's interesting. Not swearing is dumbing down. And also, the fact that he's complaining that we're not swearing enough.
Yeah.
What sort of a would bother writing that email?
I don't know, mate. I don't know, but I know he's just some. Okay.
What have you got, Annie?
Well, now, of course, a couple of weeks back, you gave the rather long-winded but fascinating sort of brain teaser, conundrum, philosophical question about the heaven and hell doors.
I know.
And there's been a number of responses to
I know.
Explain your error.
Well, I got it. I realised as soon as we put it out there that I should have said, assume no prior knowledge. Otherwise, you can just say, hold up a cat and say, is this a dog? Or you can say, what's my name? But they don't know anything about you. That's the thing. They only know about themselves. And I should have said that.
Yeah. So are you willing to just now say that you've embarrassed yourself?
I've embarrassed myself. I should have said, it's got to be about, it's only about the, you can ask questions.
Well, do you know what? It's a bigger man than many that can admit that mistake.
Or a man that's banged to rights and obviously caught out and has no choice.
Well, it's quite interesting to wade through the emails and find out the kind of people that are listening, get a sense of the different listeners. And I know you, Rick, have met some of the big celebrity names that have listened to the show, and it's sort of because you've actually met them. But it's now we've got celebrities who are just emailing in, just letting us know. This one is from a guy called Aaron. He says, "My name's Aaron Douglas, and I play Chief Tyrol on TV's Battlestar Galactica."
Oh, right.
And he listens to the show in his trailer. Now, I don't watch Battlestar Galactica. I hear it's very good.
Yeah,
but it's nice to know that.
I don't watch it. I don't watch any of those things. But that's.
But I'm nice. It's nice that Chief Tyrol, and for those of you that watch Battlestar Galactica, I'm sure that means something. But nice that he got in touch. But I'm just thinking, who would you, in an ideal world, Rick, who would be your ideal listener, a celebrity listener?
Well, it's not so much celebrities for me. I like the idea that captains of industry or scientists or people actually doing something worthwhile are listening. That's what excites me, because they hear. You know, we've had a couple of emails from people who are doing, you know, PhDs and psychologists and that excites me more. These academics are listening. I mean, who's the weirdest person you think that who should have more time on their hands? You know, Stephen Hawking. Imagine Stephen Hawking listening to this show. You know, he's putting together the formulation for the universe, but he's going to listen to a little bit of monkey news from Karl Pilkington.
Imagine Stephen Hawking emailing us at podcast@rickygervais.com. I mean, that would just blow our minds, wouldn't it? He's got time to do that. That he's got the inclination to bother doing that.
He's always online, though, isn't he? He's always hooked up.
Is he?
Well, he's always got that little computer on. Why not? Sure, that's one of the perks. You can just bung an email out whenever. I'm not having a go. That's what I'm thinking. He's sat there with his little computer. Out of all the people in the world to have a chat with, I'd probably like to have a chat with him about space and that, because I can't get my head round it.
Carl, you can't get your head round frozen foods. What a chance you can have with the universe.
No, but just putting stuff out there, it freaks me out when I'm lying there in bed at night and I think about how this world. On Friday, right, I was in bed with Suzanne and I said, could the world fall? Right?
It's like something from Chicken Licken.
Wow, that's a hell of a bit of pillow talk, that.
Isn't foreplay hell? Oh, God.
But I'd like to sort of have a chat with him, because I reckon he could put it in a way that I could understand it.
Oh, I wish an Inuit was listening.
Did I not tell you this? We had an email from an Inuit.
Really?
Yeah. I thought I'd mentioned this. Have we not mentioned this before?
No.
No, it was an email from a guy who said, I don't think he lives in Canada, I think, or somewhere else. I apologize if I'm getting that wrong. But I think he said he was half Inuit, and he listens to the show.
Half Inuit?
See, that's interesting, because I think them as so remote. I know I'm probably wrong now, but I think that those are so remote that I can't think where they're meeting people who aren't
that are also
into
it, yeah.
Oh, and who's going, you know, other societies are going, I'll tell you what, I'm fed up, there's no action now, I'm going to the frozen tundra, I'm bound to meet someone there.
Yeah.
Where do they meet? Do they do online dating? What,
Probably a lot of online stuff.
what do you put as hobbies? Fishing?
Yeah. Skinning stuff.
Skinning stuff, yeah. What stuff do you skin?
You know, seals.
Seals. Yeah, sure. That's about it, isn't it?
Why are they hanging about round there? Why aren't seals going, do you know what, it's cold, I'm sick of it here. It's windy all the time, what have you, and I'm getting a club on the head. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're meant to be quite bright in terms of animals and that, aren't they?
Yeah.
So why are they knocking about them parts?
I don't know.
Say, like, if seals died out, right? Would that be a problem?
We've done this.
We've been through this before, Carl.
Everything has a knock-on effect.
Even a seal, that's sort of in between something already. It's between a fish and a and a dog, isn't it?
I knew you were going to say dog.
It's not between a fish and a dog. What do you think evolution does? Do you, fish to
I'll never
dog?
understand it. Maybe we
What
shouldn't
do you
talk
mean
about it.
it's between a fish and a dog?
I'm just saying it's.
It was a perfectly evolved mammal that re-entered the water, I imagine, and then got streamlined and. I mean, it's between a fish and a dog.
But why not have one and the other? Why not have, like, you know, you've got a dog, you've got a fish.
No, it's not
anything in the
between
middle.
a fish and a dog. It's not between a fish and a dog. I don't know what between means. I don't know what...
This is it again about saving everything all the time. What is it doing? What's he doing? Everyone's feeling sorry for him all the time. Save the seal and all that. What's he doing? Why are we saving it? Let's just ask that question. What's it doing?
I don't know what to say. It's between a fish and a dog.
That bloke, the Eskimo who emailed in, would he be in a igloo thing?
Probably not, no.
Well, no, not. I mean, I don't think many igloos have got internet capabilities, so I don't know. I don't want to slag them off.
But why aren't we saving them? Why aren't we helping?
When you build it, leave a little hole.
Yeah.
That's where the...
But there's kind of igloo internet cafes. They
go there, they all go to one igloo, yeah.
But why are they being left alone to live like that when it isn't great?
What?
Well, we're always eager to help everyone in the world, aren't we? We're always like going, oh, look, them people are fed up, let's build the city up for them, give them a, you know, coffee shop and all the rest of it. They're being left alone.
For them.
They're being left alone in igloos and stuff.
Yeah.
Why isn't anyone saying...
But they're not asking for help. They're happy. Well, they're not necessarily happy, but that's the way they live. That's where they choose to live.
But why hasn't anyone just gone over and gone, do you know what, we can make it a bit better for you?
Well, they have.
I've never had a leaflet through the door saying help an Eskimo out, or, you know, clothing for Eskimos.
There's the most remote people in the world. Eventually, someone gets them some whiskey and fags, and that's the end of them as a culture. It happens all around the world. There can be this idyllic world where there's no stress, and soon they're watching Come Dancing on telly, knocking back some whiskey and smoking 40 fags a day.
But they're not moving.
Surely Dancing on Ice.
yeah.
But what I mean is, like, Oxfam collects clothes for people in Africa where it's warm. Probably don't need a jacket. Nothing for Eskimos where it's freezing, where they'd be quite happy to get a jumper in the post.
Right, okay. So what you're suggesting, to Africa we send parasols and sun cream. Yeah. You're an idiot.
Out of all the people in the world to have a chat with, do you know, what's his face? That German doctor.
Which one? The guy that displays the human body?
Guns Traven or something.
Oh, right, yeah.
He's pretty good. Just like the way, you know, he cuts stuff up, shows you how the body works and that.
Sure.
And have you learned anything from that?
Well, I don't. Is he a proper doctor? Because it's just that he's always. I mean, I could cut a body up. I never see him sort of put it back together. Is anyone keeping an eye on him, sort of going, well, who is he actually?
I'm sure he's a proper doctor.
Well, he sort of cuts bodies up on the telly and sort of goes, here's how like the intestines work or whatever.
Alright.
And he just he holds them up, fills them with food, and he goes, look, they go fatter. And I mean, he doesn't answer everything. Like, he doesn't say, I don't understand why the intestines have to be that long. I don't know why it just can't go from the throat to the belly, exit, straight dark line down, out the arse.
You must know.
Well, no, because the way he dragged it out, and it was like miles long.
Yeah.
Pointless.
No, it's not pointless.
Just have a straight, do you know what I mean? Straight down.
It's to increase the surface area for absorption. So, a foot long intestine, you wouldn't absorb much food. Whereas, you go down, you know...
Yeah, but just have more points in it where it has to go through some sort of filter.
What are you talking about? Again, the evolution sort of worked this out for us. It really works.
I don't think you're going to improve on it. In your mind, some kind of kerplunk style
No, but what I mean is that's probably that long because years ago they were eating dinosaur, and that might have took a lot of indigestion or something. I don't know how chewy it was. It might have been quite fatty, dinosaur meat, and it needs to go through all that. Now we're eating like yogurt, so I mean we don't need anything that is doing that much work anymore. All the food is mashed up. Auntie Nora, right, all her food is mashed. Right, she doesn't have to chew anymore. She's got teeth, but she doesn't need them. And that's how...
She's got teeth, but she don't need them!
No, but that's how we're
she
moving
could have her
on.
intestines removed then.
Well, no, but this is what I'm saying.
That would sort our other problem, wouldn't it?
We're changing everything all the time, aren't we? I mean, there's some fella who was looking at on the internet, identical twins, right? They were sort of sick of looking like each other. So they were like, what can we do, right? And one of the twins said, you have my arm, right? And he had his arm taken off and stuck on his twin, so his twin's got like 3 arms.
No, it's not true.
It's on the website.
No, it's not true.
What, for a laugh? They were born so they didn't have
what doctor's doing this then?
Well, they're old enough to sort of say, this is what we want, and...
No, doctors don't go, well, if he wants another arm, and I'll take it. Doctors don't do that. What sort of practice is this doctor going around and go...
Dr. Jekyll?
I mean, Carl, think of what you're saying.
But
where would he have stopped? Can you put his head on my knee? It's up to you.
No,
sign this. If you sign this, you give my consent.
But we, it is annoying.
What do you think these doctors sit around doing? Playing Mr. Potato? Or what do you think these doctors are doing?
Just they do as they're told.
They don't do as they're told.
They do if someone wants it, and twins, sort of, it can get you down, can't it? Being a twin, because it's like...
Sorry, what would this solve, though? I thought you said he gave one of them a bigger nose or a beard or 2 front teeth to make him look different, right? Not... I'll tell you what we could do. Go on. Would you like 1 arm? Go on, what are you thinking? Well, me 3, you 1, therefore not twins.
Novelty.
I mean, you are a mental man.
But they can do it now, can't they? There's no sort of... There's no line drawn anymore. They don't go, you're crazy, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, in Saw 2, not in the real world. No, they don't do things like this.
Alright, there's another bloke, right? I don't know the sort of full ins and outs of it.
Go on, you surprised me.
But what he asked for, something happened to his tackle, right?
Mm-hmm.
His penis?
Yeah, right. So he was at the doctor's, and they were like, oh, what can you do for me? It's a bit embarrassing, I've got nothing down there, right? So they were like looking at it, going, yeah. Doctor, I don't know if he started like rubbing his chin with his finger or something. Looked down, he's thinking, got an idea. You've got a lot of fingers, how many of them do you use? The patient's like, yeah, I see what you're thinking. They cut off one of his fingers, sewn that on to where his tackle is. He's happy.
Well, that's different though, isn't it?
Well,
that's where they've
really
taken tissue. No, but I assume they fashioned it into more of a knob than a finger.
No, I still think it's there with like a little knuckle and fingernail and that.
Well, I assure you it isn't. they've probably used the finger as a basis to then build up some sort of knob-based organ.
If you were doing that, use a sausage. I mean, why lose a finger for...
Well, I'll tell you why. Because your finger has your tissue, your blood type, and therefore would graft near your testicles. A sausage is a thing that's made by a butcher out of offal, okay, that really can't be grafted onto any part of the human body. That's why they very rarely use any meat products in surgery. I know, yeah. Well, I mean, why not use a sausage? You're a mental case.
I saw some bloke the other day in a meeting, and on his desk he had a picture of his kids who were twins, right? And they looked alike, and he did that thing of dressing them the same, that sort of thing that annoys me, right? And I sort of said, you've only got a small desk, just have a picture of one of them. He looked at me like I was mental.
That's amazing.
It's not. I think it's it's sort of common sense.
You know what you've come up with there? No solution to anything. That's what you've come up with there. You've come up with the best no solution I've ever heard in my life.
Or it's solutions to problems that don't exist.
No, because more room on the desk, isn't it?
Yeah. It's no solution to a problem that didn't exist in the first place. Well done.
There was a picture on when I was on the plane coming back from here, there was a picture of this new luxury hotel. It'll be, I think, $10,000 a night to stay there. It looked extraordinary. It was a hotel, and the best rooms were built under the water, under the sea. Wow. So it was the best hotel room we've ever seen, but surrounded on all sides by glass, and out of it you could see the sea, the sharks, the fish.
I don't think I'd like that.
No?
But that's just one of them hotels where it's over the top for over the top sake, isn't it? Like where they have 12-course meals. Well, just have 2, but make them bigger, rather than dragging it out and there's the first course. A couple of
snails.
Yeah, it's just for me all that is.
Don't eat a snail. Don't have one snail. Eat one big tortoise. If you want slow food, don't have loads of little snails. Here, there's a giant tortoise. Tuck into that. Feeds 10. But it's what you were saying before. When you start having to take a risk with food, like the fish that can kill you if you eat it, don't bother. There's apparently a delicacy in Japan, again, someone could verify this, where they eat a live little octopus. And it can stick to your throat, because it's obviously fighting for its life. I mean, good, again. You don't need to eat a live octopus. What are you thinking? How cruel is that?
Well, how fresh do you need your food? it's not, do you know what I mean? But I always remember this story when I was a kid about some bloke who, a bit sad, the story, but weird. He had throat cancer, right? And his doctor said, carry on with your life, right? It's not going to be that good, but just carry on. But don't eat meat. And he was like, I love meat. He's like, yeah, but just don't, have your veg, plenty of vitamins and stuff, keep yourself strong, but don't be eating that anyway. He was fed up because he loved his meat, and his wife was feeling a bit sorry for him one day, and thought, I'm sick of him looking fed up and that, all he wants is some meat, for God's sake, give him some meat. So she goes to the butcher's, gets him a big piece of, steak and what have you. He can't believe it, he's like, oh, brilliant, cheers for that. Anyway, he's got the meat on his plate, just about to tuck in, and the cancer comes out from his throat. What? No, I know, it sounds really weird, but it's something that I was told about years ago when I was growing up.
What are you talking about?
It was just some bad illness, some cancer thing, and it was coming out waiting for the meat. It was sort of dying.
Again, a lot of your medical knowledge is from
the film Alien.
So this guy with throat cancer, okay, as opposed to it being a disease of the cell,
it was like a living.
The alien. It was alien.
So it was the animal. It was the little animal cancer.
That's why he wasn't allowed to eat meat. He wasn't allowed to eat meat.
So it's sitting there. So it's actually sitting there in the throat. I'll tell you what I'd have done if I'd have had some cancer in my throat. I'd go, there you go, rid of that. What are you talking about? So what happened?
He choked to death on this thing, and the wife was like, "Oh,